Check 1-2. We are getting ready live for Front Street Fights.
Cameron Moore here.
Mic check, mic check.
Can you hear me?
Good, good. Yeah, mic check.
Yep.
Can you hear me? All right, solid.
Cool. Since 2014, downtown Boise has played host to Idaho's premier MMA organization, and tonight we do it all over again for the 25th time, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you inside Idaho Central Arena for Front Street Fights. Good evening, I am Matt Johnson, that is, and joining me tonight, two alums of the FSF world. To my right, a man who has cornered many fights here in this building, Cameron Moore, and to my left, he is a former main eventer of Front Street Fights. I believe 7 times you've appeared in the cage here. This is Vince Mandetta Morales. And gentlemen, let's get right into it. Of course, change is nothing new in the MMA world. Change happens all the time. A lot of changes happen to the card tonight. Virtually every fight has seen at least one opponent change happen tonight. And Vince, in a fighter's mind, what's going through the fighters tonight as they prepare for maybe a game plan that they haven't rehearsed for a while?
In my mind, the best thing that a fighter can do, especially when under these circumstances where it's last-minute changes, it gets us in the mood to fight. We're all about overcoming obstacles, and that's literally what we're doing in the cage. So the more we can get a little bit of practice with that beforehand, the better off we're going to be. So my advice to everybody is embrace that, roll with that punch, and get ready to scrap.
And for Cameron, of course, the cornermen, they play a vital role to the fight game. For those same fighters, how crucial are the cornermen tonight to really keep the focus of the fighters for a new opponent that they haven't studied much?
The role of the cornerman is such an essential job. The fighter sees what's in front of them, but the cornerman can see everything else. They're the peripheral, they're the eyes, they're the ears, they're seeing distances, they're seeing footwork patterns, they're watching for setups, they're watching for opportunities in the moment. When they get a new opponent, of course, they've probably crammed a bunch of footage, everything that they can get a hold of to prepare for that, but in the moment is really where they shine.
All right, well, we have 6 action-packed fights for you tonight, so let's go ahead and take a look at all the fights we are going to see tonight. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to see the MMA debuts of Cesar Cervantes and Crasium Pantea. My apologies, by the way, if I'm butchering any of the names. We will get them right very quickly. That's going to be followed by 2 more fighters making their MMA debuts, that being Brock Miller and Nathan Galentine. Headlining the amateur card tonight, we're going to see Matty Moorhead taking on Char Rush. And moving up to the pro portion of the card, we're going to kick that off with Ben Hollier making his 6th appearance at Front Street Fights when he faces Isaac Thompson. Next up, our co-main event will feature another man very familiar with fights in this arena. In his 6th appearance at Idaho Central Arena, Daryl Flores will take on Eddie Hawk. And our final main event of the evening, which should provide some fireworks. We are going to see Ricky the Karate Kid Steele in his 4th Front Street Fights appearance take on Joe PENAFIEL. And gentlemen, we say fireworks because let's go back to the weigh-ins yesterday as we pull up the footage. You can see Ricky stepping off the scale right here, going for the face-off, and this is where things get a little bit interesting. Vince, what do you make of a situation like this?
It's usually where it's a little bit of battle, like mental battle going on here. It's who can kind of get one person to move or filter or blink their eyes or kind of break up a little bit, and usually that shows who's going to cave in first. From both these guys here, they're both ready to scrap. They're both ready to be in their face. I think it's going to be a fireworks fight.
Well, let's take a look at the rules that we have for this portion of the card. All 3 rounds are going to be 3 minutes long. 3 judges will be scoring the fight using a 10-point must system, and point scoring will be based on effective striking, grappling, aggression, and control. Well, how are all of these fights going to play out? We are going to find out by night's end. Right now, we go inside the cage with Britt Talbert as we kick off tonight's action.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Front Street Fights 25, STEELE versus PENAFIEL, presented by Project Filter. Project Filter, you decide when, we'll show you how. Tonight's commentators are Matt Johnson, Cameron Moore, and Vince Vendetta Morales. Tonight's fights are sanctioned by the Idaho State Athletic Commission. All amateur fights will be 3 3-minute rounds scored using the 10-point must system. Our first fight of the night is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in the Front Street Fights welterweight division. This fight is brought to you by Project Filter. Project Filter, you decide when, we'll show you how. Let's meet our fighters for our first amateur bout of the night. First, fighting out of the blue corner, Kat Pantea.
Again, our first fight tonight is Cesar Cervantes. Correction here. Our first fight of the night, again, is Cesar Cervantes versus Gracian Pantea. When you're heading into your MMA debut, of course, you've been practicing this for, months, maybe weeks, maybe even longer. Vince, when you were getting ready to make your MMA debut, the first time you stepped in the cage, were you nervous? Were you excited? What was going through your mind?
For me, it took me right back to high school wrestling. I had a lot of those same butterflies and nerves going on. A little bit intense with everybody here watching, but I think this is kind of what shows us immediately how the fighters are going to adapt to the situations. It's a lot about how you can deal with these emotions at the moment, who can kind of overcome that.
And from a coach's perspective or a cornerman's perspective, your fighter is going into the cage for the first time. He's rehearsed this, he's practiced this against friends and everything else. Cameron, what are you telling your fighter as he's getting ready for the first time to do this for real, to do this live?
His job at that point is to really control the nerves. That's what's going to make the difference. They have the skill, they have the technique. We've worked on a game plan. At that point, it's just really getting comfortable with the mindset. Slow down.
In the red corner, Cesar Cervantes.
I'd be curious to see how these guys have prepared for that mindset specifically. Now, Cesar Cervantes, I know, comes with a boxing pedigree. I believe he's competed in boxing before, so being in the ring is no unfamiliar territory for him, but this is going to be new. MMA is a whole different world. I hope he can continue that composure and put on a good fight for us tonight.
When you're looking at an opponent, Vince, that maybe has a boxing pedigree and has never stepped into MMA, of course, MMA involves boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, grappling. I mean, it involves literally every aspect of the fight world. Are you cautious of knowing somebody has a boxing pedigree, or are you more focused in on what your strengths are and what you're going to do?
100% trying to maintain focus on what you're going to do is going to be paramount. Immediately, you got to let them know it's going to be an MMA fight. Looking at throwing some hard kicks, mixing up a takedown, let them know that this is not boxing. Welcome to MMA.
Cesar Cervantes getting his final checkout by the cage side physicians tonight as he gets ready to step into the cage for his MMA debut. We've seen a lot of those over the years here. Of course, this is our 25th event here at Front Street Fights, brought to you by ProjectFilter.org from here at Idaho Central Arena. Now, I can't remember, Vince. I know you had one of your early fights. We'll talk about this in a minute, but we're going to get this fight kicked off right now with cage announcer Britt Talbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first fight this evening is again scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in the Front Street Fights Amateur Welterweight Division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner to my left, making his MMA debut tonight, standing in at 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 165.5 pounds, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, representing Extreme Couture, please welcome Kat Pantea. His opponent this evening, fighting out of the red corner, also making his MMA debut, standing in at an even 6 feet, weighing in at 165.6 pounds, fighting out of Twin Falls, Idaho, proudly representing family boxing and fitness. Please welcome Cesar Cervantes. Our referee when the action begins, Nasty Nate Decker.
As you can hear, the hometown crowd, well, not really hometown, the Twin Falls crowd has traveled away here to Boise tonight to cheer on Cesar Cervantes. And as Nate Decker makes sure the cage is closed, he gives the signal, and Front Street Fights 25 is underway.
There you go. There you go. Hey.
Some wild fists for Cervantes there. It looks like Pantea going for the takedown. Cervantes able to back up to the cage to negate that. Big takedown there.
Pantea looked prepared for his boxing by throwing the head kick and the leg kick early on. I don't know that he expected the takedown.
Now, Vince, you can see both fighters moving around a lot right now. You think that's a little bit of nerves doing it for the first time and like exuding a lot of energy as another takedown is performed. What's the key right now for both of these guys to set? Oh, we're going for a choke in the back.
Excellent back position. Both these guys are dry, too. It's going to be hard for him to slip and move. Look into the body triangle. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's immediately about who's going to be able to weather this kind of storm and stay calm. Somebody might be able to pull out a finish here. It's from what it looks like. Still maintaining on the back.
Now, when you're kind of crunched up against a cage like that, Kat, of course, trying to push up on the elbow to get out of that, preventing Cervantes from locking in that full rear naked choke right there. When you're in a weird position like that, kind of crunched up against a cage as is Pantea, like, what's the key to him right now as he takes a couple of blows from Cervantes?
He's looking at trying to survive this, maybe get some hand control, trying to break that body triangle that's on him right there. Using that cage to kind of push off that to get a little more space for himself is going to be beneficial as well.
Cervantes using that right leg to keep Pantea from posting that leg and bridging and getting his hips over Cervantes' leg. That's going to be the escape route for him, is to move north towards his head. And he's doing a great job negating that with that shin.
Pantea got the back position. Oh! Some wild kicks, some wild punches. We've got a timeout here.
One of those kicks might have
It was
been
the
illegal.
head kick, I believe.
I get a warning. Don't know that Cervantes was all the way up
So,
in position.
explain to those who just saw what happened. What did we just witness? Why did the ref stop the fight there for a minute?
So there's a potential foul there because Cervantes was not all the way back up. If he's in a three-point position, he's down on a knee or two, you cannot receive head kicks. It's going to be a foul to the striking opponent.
So it's not that the head kicks are illegal per se. It's more that he was not up. He was in a vulnerable position.
Correct. We would consider him a grounded opponent.
Referee Nate Decker signals action is back underway with 40 seconds left in round number 1 of the first fight of the night, live here from Idaho Central Arena. Another big head kick. flurry of fists coming. Another attempted head kick.
Beautiful combo by Pantea.
So we're coming up with 15 seconds left here in this first fight between Cap Pantea and Cesar Cervantes. Both men seem to have settled down just a little bit. Of course, the brief period there as the timekeeper signals 10 seconds left. So we come to the end of round number 1 there from Cap Pantea and Cesar Cervantes. Vince, what did you see in that first round from both men?
A lot of nervous, kind of frantic energy going on early. I think now we're going to see really who's the better fighter. I think they both settled. That initial adrenaline rush, that spurt's kind of gone. We're going to see who's been more well prepared for this moment.
Now, what are you telling, Cameron, what are you telling your fighter right now on either side as to what just went, like game plans changes? What are they trying to change going into this second round?
If I'm cornering Pantea, I tell him to stick with the plan. They clearly have a plan for Cervantes. They know Cervantes is a boxer. They're answering with kicks. They're keeping distance. And when it did go to the ground, which seemed to be a surprise to Pantea, he was prepared, he was calm, and he worked through it very well. If I'm Cervantes, I'm going to be asking him to close the distance, get into that boxing range. It's also going to allow him to set up the takedowns a little bit better.
As both corners exit the cage, referee Nate Decker making sure we're good to go back for this second of 3 scheduled rounds between Cap Pantea and Cesar Cervantes. Now, the interesting note here, Cesar's original opponent, Northern McCullough, he got hurt. Krasian was actually supposed to corner him. Of course, injuries happen, they swap places. So now who was supposed to be the original fighter is now the cornerman, and the original cornerman is now the actual fighter as Cervantes gets another takedown on Pantea.
This is good for Cervantes here. It's showing he's not just a boxer. He's got some other tools in his game and he's willing to go to these places.
Is that something maybe you want to change as a fighter? You showed a little bit of who you are in round 1. Do you have that in your bag to flip it up for round 2 and show something different? Should we go on to say a round 3, or you're able to change your fight game a little bit?
This is MMA. It's going to be all about what we can try to expose, what we noticed in the previous rounds or what we're seeing in that moment. And he's doing exactly the right thing. He's getting in better range. He's mixing in his takedowns a little more. Liking what I'm seeing from Cervantes.
Cervantes able to get a couple lefts and rights in there. Pantea, with those long legs, is able to get a couple of kicks in there. So it'll be interesting to see as we continue on who's going to be able to really up and implement their game.
A big dictator in this fight is going to be distance control. Punching distance and kicking distance is not always the same. It's usually a matter of a distance by maybe the length of your foot. And with Pantea keeping him at that range in the first round, he's going to want to do that again. Cervantes really needs to
big right and left there coming from Cervantes.
Good level change.
Cervantes doing a really good job on the chase-up. We've lost a mouth guard there. But Cervantes doing a really good job of chasing his opponent as we get another stop in time from referee Nate Decker, allowing Cap Pantea to get the mouth guard back in.
In the face, come on. In the face.
We are back underway, just over a minute left in round number 2. Cervantes seems to be relaxing just a little bit, and as Pantea is gone for his second or about 3 or 4 leg kicks there and almost took Cervantes off his leg, but Cervantes doing a really good job staying relentless with the rights and lefts.
He's throwing a lot of good straight punches, he's keeping his distance, dictating the range real well. Those straight punches are what's got Pantea's nose all bloody right now as well.
Cervantes is throwing good hands. I'd be worried about the fact that he keeps dropping them after he throws. He throws straight out to the chin, and then he brings it to his own rib and circles back up. He's going to be open for counter shots, especially that head kick that Pantea has been favoring.
Is that
there
something? You called it, it happens. Cervantes, another takedown on Pantea. Now, is that something as we get ready to end round number 2, is that something you're going to be telling your fighter, like, hey, be looking for this, and how, when you only have a minute to get it into your opponent, how quickly are you trying to reiterate that to them what you're seeing on the outside?
I'd communicate to again stick with that plan of throwing that head kick. He needs to be a bit more wary of setting it up. Distance is going to be important, and throwing some hands to get it set up is going to be important too. But watching for that opportunity of Cervantes dropping his hands and being susceptible to that kick is really going to be a matter of timing and setup at this point. If I'm on Cervantes' corner, I'm looking at that exact same thing and saying, hey, that fist needs to go from your chin right back to their chin, and keep that nice and straight and clean so you can protect yourself on the way back.
As we take a look at the Project Filter replay here, you can see Cervantes, who seemed to really dominate that second round. What did you see from him that really kind of gave him control of that round?
Doing a very good job dictating the range, not staying in one place, attacking on a straight line. He's trying to use his angles, he's throwing good straight punches, he's stuffing him every time Pantea's moving forward. It really frustrated him that round. That was a much better round for Cervantes.
With Cervantes having seemingly the better part or edge of that round, what is key for Pantea heading into this third and final round if it does go to the distance to influence the judges? What's key for Pantea in this round?
He's going to have to stay on him and stay with that pressure. You keep mixing in those kicks and just not let him get in there for free just like that.
Again, you say the kicks, he seems to be favoring those leg kicks right now, probably trying to weaken the base of Pantea, and it finally works there. Cervantes taking one of those leg kicks and hitting the mat, but also able to get in with a couple of rights.
Cervantes' leg is already turning purple. He's switching stances. This is a sure sign that he's uncomfortable on his feet. He's going to have trouble throwing.
There's that
hands.
kick followed up by some rights in less for Cervantes. Weakening the base, going for the head is Pantea. Pantea backed in the cage by Cervantes. Both men trading rights, both men trading lefts.
Cervantes needs more of that. He can't keep sitting at the range and taking these kicks. He's obviously hurting from them.
When you've taken those leg kicks and your base is weak, how do you weather that storm? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to slow the action? Are you going for takedowns? Or are you just trying to get out of the fight and win it?
At that point, it's either mixing in the takedowns or mixing up your range good enough to stop those kicks from landing so consistently.
Cervantes, another attempted takedown, backing Pantea up to the cage as we come up to 1 minute and 45 seconds left in the third and final round of our opening bout tonight. Probably good right now for Cervantes that he's able to kind of slow down this fury that Pantea has been throwing for about the last 90 seconds.
Absolutely. He's really going back to the well for this takedown, but it's going to be very difficult at this point. He's breathing heavy, but most importantly, those leg kicks do so much damage to the thighs. You can't drive, you can't push, you can't do the takedowns the same way you normally would. And we see him unsuccessful at this point.
Big third or fourth kick there from Pantea to the head of Cervantes. Coming up on the final 60 seconds of round number 3 of our opening bout. What has to happen in this last 60 seconds for either fighter?
Somebody's really got to do something a little bit bigger right now. For Pantea, more of this is going to probably win him the round. He's doing a real good job keeping him in range with the kicks and landing good hard kicks. That head kick doesn't seem like it can miss. Cervantes needs to get him up against the cage, slow his rolls, keep those kicks from coming so efficiently. There we go, just like that.
Cervantes able to take down Pantea in this final 30 seconds. His hometown crowd of Twin Falls, who has traveled here tonight, definitely enjoyed that and will go a long way with the judges. As you know, a lot can happen in 20 seconds, but it appears we might be going the distance on our first fight here. So when you hear the clap that we're going to hear in a second for the last 10 seconds, do you feel like the fight in your mind as a fighter is over at this point? Or what are you doing in this last 10 seconds knowing like, I got to do something?
With the fight this close, it's all about, you got to land something big. You got to make sure that not only your opponent knows, but the judges know that you were in this fight to the very end.
And our first fight of the night between Cat Pantea and Cesar Cervantes goes the full 3 minutes as we will be going to the judges' scorecard. We will be having that come up to us here in just a few minutes. Cameron, what did you see from this last fight?
What I really saw was an excellent game plan and strategy by Pantea and his corner. They had a great plan coming in. They continued to make small adjustments, but stick with what was working: the footwork, the kicks, and being comfortable once it did go to the ground. For Cervantes, yeah, he has to be very proud of his hands. He weathered a lot of those kicks that he's definitely not used to. He ate a lot of those leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks, and stayed.
As we go to the Project Filter replay, you can see some of the highlights from this third and final round. Vince, how did you see this fight shaking out in this final round?
That was a great scrap. I think both guys knew that it was probably 1-1. It was close going into that last round. I think they both knew that they needed it, that they needed to fight hard. I think Cervantes showed up how tough he is in this too. That was great.
If you could put yourself in the mind of the judges, in your opinion, who do you think comes out on top on this one?
Damage weighs big for me. In that second round, it was looking like Penteo was taking a lot of damage with that nose being busted up. But that third round, dropping him with the kicks, obviously keeping him at bay with the kicks to the head and everything, that's big damage there. He was switching his stance. The kicks were hurting Cervantes so much. I'm big on damage. I lean that last round towards Penteo.
And Cameron, how did you see this fight shaking out?
Completely agree with Vince. Pantea in that last round, although he was on the other side of a takedown, I don't think that was enough for him to lose the round. The damage he did, the octagon control he implemented, the composure he had even is an element where if I'm a judge and I'm watching that, he did extremely well and clearly won that last round.
All right, well, let's find out how the judges saw this one as we go inside the cage for the results with cage announcer Britt Talbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go into the judges' scorecards, both of these fighters made their MMA debut here for you tonight, and they put up a hell of a fight. How about a little noise right now for our first fight of the night? We will move to the judges' scorecard. All three judges scored this fight 29-28. Picking up his first victory in MMA, fighting out of the blue corner, Cat Pantea.
A rain of boos that I feel is very uncalled for there. Excellent fight by both fighters.
Apologies. My bad. Hey, sorry. Cat, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Okay, let me make it better. Your winner by unanimous decision, fighting out of the red corner, Cesar Cervantes.
All right, we got a correction there from cage announcer Britt Talbert. Cesar Cervantes, definitely the unanimous decision winner by 29-28 by all three judges.
It's been a while since we've had MMA here. I apologize. Let's have a quick word here with the Idaho guy right here, Cesar Cervantes, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Again, I apologize, Cesar. You brought a lot of fans here tonight. How was your MMA debut?
Oh, man. It was a dream come true, dude. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Second off, I'd like to thank my coaches for sticking with me, really pushing me, beating the shit out of me every single day. Thank you. I'd like to thank all my friends for coming, and this is my dream, man. Just even coming here, win or lose. Thank you so much.
And I almost screwed it up for you, Cesar. I'm sorry. Hey, as an amateur, right? You're learning your way. You're kind of having to take these fights. What's up next for you?
Si Dios quiere, I mean, opportunity comes every which way. So whatever happens, happens, and I'll follow that.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner by unanimous decision, Cesar Cervantes.
A big congratulations goes out to Cesar Cervantes picking up his MMA debut win tonight, so congratulations goes out to him. Well, coming up on the other side of the break, he was a highly touted linebacker from Florida that played at NC State and eventually Boise State, and the other reached out to matchmaker Vida Arteaga. He said that he was looking for an opportunity, and he gets one coming up after the break. It's Brock Miller, it's Nathan Gellantine. That's next on Front Street Fights 25, presented by Project Filter.
Welcome to Twin Peaks.
Boise's most scenic place to catch every touchdown, home run, knockout, and slam dunk. Score big when you combine HD views, made from scratch food, and our teeth-chattering 29-degree draft beer. So what are you waiting for? Get your axe into Twin Peaks. Every time you use your ICCU Premier Rewards Visa card, you're earning rewards. Whether it's cash
cash back or points, being a member of Idaho Central really pays back. Start earning points and getting cash back for your everyday purchases. It's a win-win. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe life should be rewarding.
Well, folks, it's only 8 a.m. and it's going to be another hot one. Today's high is 85 degrees with lows ranging in the upper 50s. Tomorrow's more of the same, plus some light wind coming in from the northeast. Coming up at 8:30, Paul's got an exclusive
Babe,
heartwarming
it's
story
8 a.m.
Fried chicken, better with Pepsi.
Front Street Fights is brought to you by Project Filter. You decide when, we'll show you how. Omaha's Cleaning Service. Blue Cross of Idaho. We're on your side. St. Luke's Sports Medicine.
And welcome back inside Idaho Central Arena for Front Street Fights 25, presented by Project Filter. You decide when, we'll show you how. Visit projectfilter.org. Right now, we have another pair of fighters making their MMA debut. Let's go back inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Talbert for our next fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's move to our second amateur fight of the evening. This fight is scheduled for three 3-minute rounds in the Front Street Fights amateur lightweight, light heavyweight division. This bout is brought to you by our friends at St. Luke's Sports Medicine. First, let's meet our fighters. Fighting out of the blue corner, Nathan Galentine.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got it like I got it.
It's always interesting, Vince, to hear a fighter's walkout music. How much thought did you ever put into that?
I always put a lot of thought in my walkout music. I'm a big fan. I think it sets the tone for the night, sets the tone for my mood. I choose a different song every time because I don't always feel the same going into every fight.
Do you think there's a difference between a fighter who always does the same thing? Do you think maybe a superstitious thing, or like when you're picking songs, is it just kind of the mood you're feeling in the moment, or kind of mindset? Like, what went into your decisions when you were picking your songs?
For me, it was a lot of how camp went. And I like to choose a few songs that represent my training camp at the beginning of camp. The one I ended up listening to the most is the one I ended up choosing for my walkout song.
What do you think is probably the weirdest walkout song you've ever had?
Man, I think I can't remember who exactly it was. Tai Tuivasa. Somebody walked out to Spice Girls not too long ago, and it kind of blew my mind. It was great for him. I would never do it.
You would never do it?
I mean, what if I lost a bet?
If you ever stepped inside the cage, would you do some Spice Girls there, Cameron?
I mean, you got nothing else to lose at that point. I mean, why wouldn't you? If it gets you hyped, it gets you in the mindset, absolutely capitalize on Spice Girls.
And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, Brock Miller.
I may or may not have once back in the day done an amateur boxing events here when I worked in radio. And I think my walkout song, we let our listeners choose it, ended up being like something by Olivia Newton-John.
I love that.
I was hoping for like Metallica or something.
That makes sense.
It was awesome. As we mentioned, Brock Miller was a highly touted linebacker out of Florida. He played at NC State. He ended up graduating from NC State in 2020 and was a grad transfer to Boise State in 2021. Inside linebackers are a special beast. When you're obviously doing research of your opponent as your cornerman, knowing the guy that your guy is facing. He's a linebacker. He's designed to get in there and hit. He's fast. He's athletic. Obviously, linebackers have to have the ability to change direction. on a dime. What are you telling your man as he gets ready to face a guy like this?
Well, especially with a debut fighter, there's no footage of him, so you really do have to rely on what you know about their experience and athletics. With an inside linebacker, you know he's going to be strong, he's going to be explosive, and he's going to come straight forward. He is no stranger to being head-to-head, chest-to-chest with many, many, many men. Although this is in a different arena, that intensity is going to be there. I'd be telling him to prepare for a lot of those things.
Amateur light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner to my left. Making his MMA debut here tonight, standing in at 6 feet 2 inches, weighing in at 203.4 pounds. Fighting out of Fruitland, Idaho, proudly representing Rick Rena MMA. Please welcome Nathan Galentine. His opponent fighting out of the red corner to my right. Also making his MMA debut tonight, standing in at 6 feet 4 inches, weighing in at 203 pounds. Fighting out of Boise, Idaho, representing the pit. Please welcome Brock Miller. Our referee again when the action begins is Nasty Nate Decker.
Well, Nathan Galentine called Vita Ortega. He said he wanted to test his skills. He wanted an opportunity. He gets that now against Brock Miller. Our second fight is now underway. Miller putting that football background to work there, backing him up there into the cage, looking for a takedown. Galentine doing a really good job of keeping those legs back. Now, when you have a guy trying to take you down, what's the key to avoiding that when you're kicking your legs out?
It's key to legs back, hips down. You're trying to sprawl, you're trying to put your weight on them, trying to make them carry that weight. When it's a single leg like that, it's different. You're trying to get your single leg back, trying to get your hips back on top of them.
Miller able to get the take there on Galentine. Now, in this first 45 seconds, we've obviously seen, as we mentioned, that football background of Miller come to play. Knowing that, seeing that now for the first time, what are you telling your guy? What are you telling Galentine right now is he's got to try to work from underneath?
You're really watching how Brock sets up his takedowns. He clearly has that natural football style where it treats it more as a tackle. He's shoulder into the chest, a little high, and so the takedown itself may not be very effective because he's so high. I actually think it's really good for Galentine to get backed up into the cage. He can use that defensively to keep Miller from taking him down, as he did with the first takedown attempt.
Now you get some ground and pound there coming from Miller. Galentine almost had a good escape there. He's rolling to his side. How crucial is it to not really give up the back position?
Very big. If you're not trying to get, nobody's trying to get submitted here, but sometimes you do got to do it in order to get up. Hopefully right here, he should be able to reach his left arm back, get an underhook, and be able to fight that position. Right
Miller
now,
doing a good job of staying right on top, looking to lock in that choke, not able to get underneath, throwing a couple of lefts there. Galentine doing all he can to cover up. Is this going to be it? Is Miller slows down the fists, trying to get going for that rear naked choke. Galentine doing a really good job keeping that chin tucked. How crucial is it to remind your fighter to keep that chin tucked in a moment like this?
It's extremely important. Not only that, but he's doing the right thing turning in.
You can hear Galentine saying mouthpiece, mouthpiece, as referee Nate Decker stops the fight for a second. Puts the fight in, puts the mouthpiece back in. We saw that happen in the first fight, kind of wondering why maybe the fight wasn't stopped there for a second. Is that something where the referee doesn't want to give up the position? Because maybe in the last fight when we saw both men are standing up, is that something a ref wants to do to, you know, if you need to put a mouthpiece back in, just like, hey, you guys freeze for a second?
Ideally, what they're looking for in order to stop the fight and put a mouthpiece in is some sort of separation. There's no separation when somebody's on top of you punching you in the face, so there's not really an opportune moment to do so.
Round number one coming to a close here between Nathan Galentine and Brock Miller. Referee Nate Decker explaining to Nate Galantine exactly what the thought process was there, getting the mouthpiece back in as we go to the Project Filter replay. Brock Miller showing off that football background with the shoulder in, as you were mentioning, Cameron, the shoulder in, pushing him back into the cage, into the takedown, and then once you get your opponent taken down, Vince, all bets are off, kind of like you got him down on the ground. What do you do now?
Exactly what Brock was doing there. He's trying to punch him into submission. He's trying to hit him and make him pay, open up that chin so he can slip that choke in. He was looking for it. Came close a couple times there.
What do you think is the biggest thing that Galantine needs to do in this second round to counteract that power, that brute strength from Brock Miller?
Footwork and distance control is going to be a critical element for Galantine in this round. He needs to move left and right. He needs to circle. He needs to find his angles so he can move and adapt more quickly and maybe get his hands going.
And we are in our way in a round number 2 between Nathan Galantine and Brock Miller. Nathan Galantine in the black trunks with the white stripes. Brock Miller in the black trunk with his name on the side, so it should be pretty easy to tell who it is. Another big takedown with Brock Miller, driving that right shoulder into the chest of Galantine, and just absolutely that power game is on full display right now.
Absolutely. You can tell he's definitely a big, strong athlete. He's used to throwing some people around. You can see it.
Galantine doing a really good job of not, once the takedown happens, not staying stagnant, keeping that body moving. How key is it for him to keep doing that, and what does Brock do to stop it?
If he stops moving, he's effectively out of the fight. So he needs to continue moving. He's doing really well turning from side to side. He's doing well bridging, keeping Brock's center of gravity moving and not settled over his hips. If he can continue to do that, he'll have some success.
Miller with some right fists, trying to loosen him up to get that left arm under for the rear naked choke, able to land some right and lefts. Looks like he might have it locked in there. Did he get the arm underneath? He appears to do. We have a tap! Nathan Galantine submits Brock Miller. Gets the submission victory with a minute 46 left in round number 2 as the hometown crowd, the Boise State alum, is victorious in his MMA debut. Nathan Galantine obviously showing the disappointment in defeat, but you heard his cornerman say, don't be disappointed. It's obviously hard in any defeat, but how important it is to remind, your fighter when you lose a fight. Like, hey, it happens. This is, you either win or lose.
Exactly. And if we haven't accepted the fact that we're going in this and it's 50-50 a lot of times, that you're going to win or you're going to lose. I mean, if you want to continue to do it, you're going to have to accept that fact. And unfortunately he's on the bad end of that right now, but his corner did the right thing, told him to keep his head up. He fought well.
We talked about that brute strength, that football style from Brock Miller. We saw it a lot, that driving force right at the beginning as we go to the Project Filter replay. That power we talked about, that football style.
It was excellent. He really used his strength and athleticism well. He found success with the takedowns. He found success dominating that position. He made the adjustments he needed to for the finish.
How about a round of applause for these amateurs right here, both making their debut tonight. Out here to entertain us. And here we go. Your winner in his debut via rear naked choke at 1:13 of round number 2, fighting out of the red corner, Brock Miller! All right, Brock. MMA debut, game opponent here tonight. Talk to us a little bit about that first fight.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank God for keeping me and my opponent safe. I'm praying for every one of these next fights that it all goes smoothly, everyone stays safe. So thank you for that. I want to say thank you to Nathan for coming out here and competing. Great opponent, only 22 years old, has such a bright future ahead of him. I want to thank Front Street Fights for hosting me here. All my supporters and fans, thank you so much. All my sponsors, couldn't have asked for a better night. Thank you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, proudly representing the pit, your winner, Brock Miller!
Congratulations to the former Boise State football player Brock Miller picking up his victory in his MMA debut. Well, when we come back, we're going to close out the amateur portion of tonight's card as both of these fighters you're about to see are going to be looking for their first win. It's Maddie Moorhead and Char Rush, and they are next on Front Street Fights 25, presented by Bodybuilding Project Filter.
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app. I know this car got you through college, but check this out. In my credit, your credit score looks good. And there's a great rate on this auto loan so we can score a roomier ride. Whoa, who's driving this thing? The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Come home to faster internet and greater savings when you switch to Sparklight's Lightning Fast Internet. Call now and connect your home for as low as $50 a month for 3 months. You'll want to stay in and stream the night away with speeds up to a gig. And whole home Wi-Fi that wows in every room. Cozy up with 99.99% reliability. Bring it all home with Sparklight Internet for as low as $50 a month for 3 months. Plus, act now and get free installation. Call us today or scan the code to speed up and save.
We are here for the long run. Because we live here. We are based in Idaho, led in Idaho, with the mission of serving the people of Idaho. If every other health insurance company left the state, we would still be here. We're Blue Cross of Idaho. We're always on your side, and that will never change.
Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Front Street Fights is brought to you by Aearn Rental, A&Z Development, we build from A to Z, NutriShop, Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Welcome back live inside Idaho Central Arena for Front Street Fights 25, presented by Project Filter. You decide when, we'll show you how. Visit projectfilter.org. Well, our first two fights of the night have gone they did not go the distance. I stand corrected. Will this third fight end soon? Will it go to the distance? Let's go inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Talbert as we are about to find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we move to our third and final amateur bout of the night. And we go to the ladies. This fight is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in the Front Street Fights catchweight division. This fight is brought to you by Pepsi Zero Sugar. Zero the sugar, all the flavor. Let's meet our fighters. Fighting out of the blue corner, let's welcome Maddie Moorhead.
Now, you want to talk about a song that's going to get you hyped up.
I can't hear the song and not think of the great Jose Halbert.
Now, both of the fighters we're about to see very early on still in their MMA careers. Both have had a couple of fights. Maddie, as she gets ready to enter the cage, she comes into this record 0-3. As we mentioned, both fighters looking for their first debut. You've been inside the cage 3 times. You haven't come up with the win. What's your mindset knowing that you've done this 3 times already, haven't got that win? Like, is it nerves? It's determination? What's the mindset when you've kind of been on a little bit of a losing streak?
It's different for everybody, but I really believe the key to success If it didn't happen last time, it's going to happen this time. If it didn't happen the time before that, it's going to happen this time. Anytime you can go into these.
Fighting out of the red corner, Shar Rush.
And much like Vince was just talking about, Shar Rush is coming out here. This is her second fight. Again, she's 0-1, still looking for that first win. Probably a little more crucial when you've only done this one time. What are you telling Shar? Like, if you're in Shar's corner, what's your biggest piece of advice to her tonight?
The biggest piece of advice I'm giving her is, first of all, I'm building up her confidence. I'm looking at her opponent. I'm looking at her opponent's record. But at the end of the day, for both of these ladies, we got to remember that the amateur fights is an opportunity for them to build the skills, to correct things on their way to becoming pro. They're tune-up fights. They're opportunities for them to make those changes. So at the end of the day, these records are not as indicative as the experience they're really looking to get inside the cage. That's what I'm going to be focusing on with both of these ladies, is getting the experience and seeing what tools we can work on.
And I think Cameron mentioned a good point there. How crucial is it for the casual fan of MMA who may look at an 0-1 and an 0-3 to realize that the record is not always indicative of the fighter?
It's very important that they realize that, because for a lot of people, it doesn't matter the record. Like, a loss doesn't determine the fighter. It's how they deal with it, how you overcome these obstacles, and how you can continue to move forward. And that's what these girls are both looking to do.
Two young fighters very early on in their career, both looking for their first victory. Which one of these ladies will come out with that all-important win? We are going to find out as we go inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Salbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, our last amateur fight of the night. This fight is scheduled for 3 3-minute rounds in the Front Street Fights amateur catchweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner to my left, with a record of no wins against 3 defeats, standing in at 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at a level 120 pounds, fighting out of Nampa, Idaho, representing Team No Excuse. Please welcome Maddie Moorhead. Her opponent to my right, fighting out of the red corner, with a record of 0-1. Standing in at 5 feet 6 inches tall, she weighs in at 117 pounds, fighting out of Boise, Idaho, proudly representing SBG Idaho. Let's welcome Shar Rush. Our referee when the action begins is Tom Supnet.
The crowd here at Idaho Central Arena split 50-50. Both women locally, of course. Moorhead from Team No Excuse in Caldwell. Great gym out there in Caldwell. Of course, SBG downtown Boise is Shar Rush is from. We got a 50-50 crowd. Both women looking for their MMA debut. In 9 minutes or less, we're about ready to find out which one of them will get it.
Parry those! Parry them! Parry them! Parry them! There you go! Keep moving!
A lot of fast handwork going on in this first 15 seconds.
Yeah, both girls are eager to show that they're here to fight and they're here to win. That's one thing people love about women's MMA is they always come to fight.
Rush seemed to has been doing a really good job controlling that cage, moving Moorhead around at her disposal.
That's really the name of what's been happening. We see the hands flying, we see the exchanges, but really what was dictated there was footwork. Shar was coming straight forward while Maddie was responding with circular footwork. That's why Shar really couldn't get a bite. She's done a great job setting up this takedown attempt and closing the distance with that footwork.
Moorhead doing a good job of slowing that initial rush from Rush. Pun completely intended, by the way.
Shar is staying on that takedown, moving straight forward.
So what we just saw there, is that really a takedown? Didn't look like what we would fully expect a takedown to look like.
She got her hands locked and she was able to drag her down.
So from a scoring perspective,
100% still a takedown. Yeah, she's still looking to really establish the position to really do something effective and damage-wise, and I think she's in a better position here right now.
Moorhead doing a good job throwing those fists to the side of Rush. The corner of Moorhead doing a really good job pointing out that Rush was grabbing the cage, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Vince, you're not allowed to do, period, or just in the amateur rules?
Period. It's super illegal.
Thought so. That's why I asked the expert. Rush, as she was in the first 2 minutes, doing a really good job controlling the spot of the cage, now doing a really good job of keeping Moorhead on her back and in a position, able to work in some punches, some fists. That right coming in hard there.
Char's doing a great job transitioning from that takedown into a really advantageous position. She moved all the way up her legs into her hips, which
Rush
really
has the right hand pinned down on Moorhead and kind of letting her right fly with the fist. Now she gets the rights and the lefts going. Referee Tom Supnet has got the eyes in. Is Moorhead going to do enough to do it? Nope. Referee Tom Supnet calls a stop to the fight. Just 2 minutes and 30 seconds into round number 1.
What a performance.
Now, we saw the referee stoppage there. Vince, obviously, it was just Moorhead not showing enough defense.
Not showing enough defense, wasn't doing anything to really break free from that position. She was in a real rough spot there. Char wasn't letting her move. She wasn't missing any punches. She had her arms pinned. There was not a lot Moorhead could do there.
How often will a ref generally let that go when a fighter like Moorhead was in that position? As we go to the Project Filter replay, you can see there Rush with that control, pinning her down, letting those fists and stuff fly. How long does that generally, will a ref let that go?
I think one reason that went on so long that it did was Moorhead kept kicking. She kept trying to move. She kept trying to show that she was trying to get out of the position. Unfortunately, she was very stuck there. And I think that was a great stoppage by Tom there.
So a big weight lifted off the shoulders of Rush as she picks up her first victory. Right now, you see Team No Excuse in there with her coaches there from Team No Excuse. We'll talk about just in a minute what we were discussing there, but we're going to get the official result as we go back inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Talbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ladies here again tonight. How about you make some noise? We have a winner via ref stoppage due to strikes, technical knockout at 2:30 of round number 1 for your winner, leveling her record at 1-1, proudly representing SBG Idaho. Make some noise for Char Rush! All right, Char, you got to come over here and do the media piece now. You level your record to 1-1, obviously as an amateur. How long you been fighting?
I've been training for 5 years.
5 years, and you make your first victory here tonight in front of the hometown crowd. Talk to us a little bit about some of your corner here. Obviously the legendary Jesse Brock and SBG. Talk about what it's like to train for this night.
Training for this night has been so awesome. Jesse, I love being coached by Jesse. He's shown up in just all the ways possible for me. My other coach, Jake, right here, amazing. I couldn't have done this without them or my awesome training partners at SBG.
So you have a pretty good crowd here tonight in your corner. Who do you want to thank?
I want to thank my kids, Noah, Sawyer, and Eliza, for coming out to support me, and their dad, Derek. Derek Schumann's in the house, brought them. I want to thank Tavish and Lori. They're with Idaho Dance Sport. They have changed my life. If anybody wants their life changed, you go to Idaho Dance Sport or SBG Idaho.
What's next for you real quick, Char? What's the next step?
Next step is to hang out with everybody who came out here tonight and party.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Char Rush!
Congratulations to Char Rush. Cameron, I want to go back to you for just a second. As you saw Maddie Moorhead in front of us with her coaches from Team No Excuse, what are you telling your fighter in that immediate aftermath of taking another loss? What's the first message you deliver to them?
The first message I deliver to them is reassurance and comfort. What can be really damaging is to criticize immediately or talk about what we did wrong or what we need to change. That's really not important right after the fight is over. What's important is we recognize what they did do, what they did well, that we're proud of them, that we want to see them do it again, that the road's not over, that we're going to get back here and do it better next time.
All right, Vince, what did you think from our first 3 fights tonight? How did all 6 of the amateur fighters do?
They all showed a little bit of veteran mindset, it looked like. None of them looked very uncomfortable in there. They all really came to fight. If that's any prediction for how the pro portion is going to go, I'm very excited.
Well, you couldn't transition any better, Vince. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to step aside for a brief intermission, so do what you need to do, but be right here when we come back. 3 incredible pro bouts are coming your way when we return for Front Street Fights 25, STEELE versus PENAFIEL, presented by ProjectFilter.org.
Your small business was built on big goals. At Sparklight Business, we want to help you crush them. With some of the fastest internet speeds in the country and 99.9% network reliability, you'll be unstoppable. Grow your team, scale up your business, and achieve greater success each day. And just like your best business partner, we'll be there when you need us, 24/7. Call Sparklight Business and ask how you can earn up to $500 in rewards when you switch.
Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
When Peter got home, his mother forgave him because she was so glad to see that he had found his shoes and coat. What's your book say, Mommy?
Dogs and cats exposed to secondhand smoke are more likely to get cancer. Your pet doesn't have a choice, but you do. Whenever you decide to quit smoking or vaping, we'll be there to support you. Learn more at ProjectFilter.org or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
At ICCU, to make a difference, it takes just one connection. A friendly face, an open ear, a helping hand. And then something amazing happens. We find out that we're better together. This is what Idaho Central does in our communities every day. We help our members with the small things and big dreams. This is what believing in you is all about. Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Hey, Front Street Fights in Idaho Central Arena would like to thank our feature partners. Blue Cross of Idaho, we're on your side. St. Luke's Sports Medicine, committed to providing the Treasure Valley with the best orthopedic and rehabilitative care available. Pepsi Zero Sugar, all the flavor, zero the sugar. Pepsi Zero Sugar, official soft drink of Front Street Fights. And Idaho Central Credit Union, helping members achieve financial success. And Project Filter, you decide when, we'll show you how. Front Street Fights would also like to thank our partners, Twin Peaks, Eats, Drinks, and Scenic Views, and Restore Hyper Wellness and Cryotherapy. Miller Lite, taste you can depend on. Omaha's Cleaning Service, A&Z Development, we build from A to Z, Ahern Rental, Zoa Energy, and NutriShop. And fight fans, don't forget Chelsea Handler is returning to Idaho Central Arena on April 22nd. Get your tickets now. You can visit idahocentralarena.com. And fight fans, remember February 26th is the Idaho Central Credit Union Public Skate. From 1 to 3 p.m., fans can get the opportunity to skate with Steelheads players, coaches, Blue the Bear, and the ICCU mascot. And remember, if you bring a canned food donation, they will receive a ticket voucher for the Wednesday, April 5th home game. Once again, February 26th is the ICCU Public Skate. We'll see you out there. Hey, don't forget, comedian Chris D'Elia will be coming right here to Idaho Central on May 19th as part of his Don't Push Me tour. Tickets are available now at Idaho Central Arena box office, or you can go to idahocentralarena.com. And don't forget, the 2023 Big Sky Basketball Championship returns to ICCU Arena on March 4th and will feature Big Sky men's and women's teams battling for the conference championship. Tickets are available now by visiting idahocentralarena.com. Hey, fight fans. One of our local fighters, Raymond Lawley, has been training for his upcoming fight tonight, and his opponent was unable to make the bout, but Raymond remained ready for any potential replacement. Front Street fight fans, let's make some noise. Give it up for Raymond Lawley for showing up here tonight. He was ready to go and representing Boise the right way. Great example of dedication and hard work, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise for Raymond Lawley. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, make some noise for Raymond Lawley in the house tonight. And fight fans, don't forget, we want to welcome our friends from Jack Daniels in the house tonight. During tonight's fights, any fight that goes into the third round, Jack Daniels will be just $5 for that round. Again, any fight tonight that goes into the third round, you can get Jack Daniels for just $5 for the length of that round.
You good, T-Minus? Music done count me out. I'm counting my bullets, I'm loading my clips, I'm writing down names, I'm making a list, I'm checking it twice and I'm getting them hit. The real ones been dying, the fake ones is lit. The game is all balanced, I'm back on my The Bentley is dirty, my sneakers is dirty, but that's how I like it. You all on my I'm all in my bag, as hard as it get. I do not store powder, I might take a sip, I might hit the blunt, but I'm liable to trip. I ain't popping no pill, but you do as you wish. I roll with some fiends, I love them to death. I got a few mil, but not all of them rich. What good is the bread if my is broke? What good is first class if my can't sit? That's my next mission, that's why I can't quit. Just like LeBron, get my more chips. Just put the rollie right back on my wrist. This watch came from Drizzy, he gave me a gift. Back when the rap game was praying like this. To act like two legends cannot coexist. But I never beef with it for nothing. If I smoke a rapper, it's gonna be legit. It won't be for clout, it won't be for fame. It won't be cause my shit ain't selling the same. It won't be to sell you my latest little sneakers. It won't be cause some slid in my lane. Everything grows, it's destined to change. I love you, little niggas, I'm glad that you came. I hope that you scrape every dollar you can. I hope you know money won't erase the pain. To the OGs, I'm thanking you now. Was watching you when you was paving the ground. I copied your cadence, I mirrored your style. I studied the greats, I'm the greatest right now. If you feel me, you ain't got a choice. I ain't do no promo, still made all that noise. This shit gon' be different, I set my intentions. I promise to slap all that hate out your voice. Been counting me out, I'm counting my bullets, I'm loading my clips, I'm writing down names, I'm making a list, I'm checking it twice and I'm getting them hit. The real ones been dying, the fake ones is lit. The game is off balance, I'm back on my shit. The Bentley is dirty, my sneakers is dirty, but that's how I like it, you all on my dick. I just poured something in my cup. I've been wanting something I can feel. Promise I am never letting up. Money in your palm don't make you real. Foot is on their neck, I got them stuck. I'ma give them something they can feel. If it ain't about the swat, don't give a pistol in your hand, I'm dead in the middle of two generations. I'm little bro and big bro all at once. Just left the lab with young 21 Savage. I'm about to go on me jigger for lunch. Had a long talk with the young Kodak. Reminded me of young from Phil. Straight out the project, no faking, just honest. I wish that he had more guidance for real. Too many in cycle of jail, spending their birthdays inside of a cell. We coming from a long bloodline of trauma. We raised by our mamas, Lord, we gotta heal. We hurting our sisters, the babies as well. We killing our brothers, they poison the well. Distorted self-image, we settle to fail. I'ma make sure that the real gon' prevail. I just poured something in my cup. I've been wanting something I can feel. Promise I am never letting up. Money in your palm don't make you real. Foot is on their neck, I got them stuck. I'ma give them something they can feel. If it ain't about the swat, don't give a pistol in your hand don't make you real.
Since 2014, downtown Boise has played host to Idaho's premier MMA organization, and tonight we do it all over again for the 25th time. We welcome you inside Idaho Central Arena for Front Street Fights. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt Johnson. Joining me tonight for the remaining 3 fights of the night. 2 gentlemen who are no strangers to the world of FSF. He has cornered many fights here. It is Cameron Moore, former headliner of Front Street Fights, Vince Vendetta Morales. We talked about this at the very top of the show. Change happens a lot on the card. All 3 fights you are about to see were not the original scheduled bout. At least one opponent has dropped out. How important is it to the fighters that we're about to see to stay grounded and focused regardless of who the opponent is in last-second changes?
It's very important. Literally, that's what we've got to do with when it's times like this. We have a goal in mind. We've been training in camp for however long it's been for that goal. Stay focused. The opponent doesn't matter. What we're going to do matters.
And Cameron, what are you telling your fighters inside the cage as they get ready? Again, you game plan for a certain opponent, but those plans change. What are you reminding your fighter at this time?
I'm reminding my fighter of something Vince mentioned earlier, and that's we're implementing our game plan. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. It doesn't matter what background they have or what success they've had in the past. We're implementing our game plan tonight regardless of who it is. Change comes often. Fighters fall out. Fighters change. That's nothing strange. We have to adapt on the fly, but we're going to implement our game plan tonight.
All right, well, whose game plan is going to get the win? Let's look at the 3 fights we have coming our way. In just a couple of minutes, we are going to see Ben Hollier taking on Isaac Thompson, our co-main event. He is no stranger to the Front Street Fights cage. Daryl Flores versus Eddie Hawk, and of course, the main event we talked about, which should provide some fireworks. You saw the highlight. You're going to see it again from weigh-ins. It's going to be crazy. It's Ricky Steele versus Joe PENAFIEL. And with that, we are going to send it inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Talbert to get the festivities started.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live on YouTube for Front Street Fights 25. STEELE versus PENAFIEL, presented by Project Filter. Project Filter, you decide when, we'll show you how. Tonight's fights are sanctioned by the Idaho State Athletic Commission. All of our professional fights will be 3 5-minute rounds with the main event fight also being scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. All fights will be scored using the 10-point must system. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise if you are able, and gentlemen, remove your hats as we welcome to the cage for tonight's national anthem, being performed by Rodrigo Cortez.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Mr. Rodrigo Cortez.
Rodrigo Cortez with a beautiful rendition of the national anthem. And as you heard cage announcer Britt Talbot explain the pro rules a little bit different, let's take those, look at those right now for you. Just to explain the difference, subtle differences between the two rules. As you see, we now move to 3 5-minute rounds. If it is a title fight, which we do not have tonight, that goes to 5 5-minute rounds. The 10-point must system, and again, points are being scored on effective striking, grappling, aggression, and control. So slight differences, Vince. We'll talk about those in a minute, but let's not waste any time. Let's get our next fight underway as we go back inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Talbot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we move to the professional part of our fight card tonight. This first pro fight is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. In the Front Street Fights lightweight division, our first pro fight of the night is brought to you by Miller Lite. Taste you can depend on. Let's meet our combatants first. Fighting out of the blue corner, let's welcome out Isaac Thompson.
I got some true stories to tell. You're back outside, but they still lie. Whoa, yeah.
Take off the foo-foo, take off the cloud chase, take off the Wi-Fi. Take off the money phone, take off the car loan, take off the flex and the white loss. Take off the weird ass jewelry, I'ma take 10 steps, then I'm taking off top 5. Take off the fabricate streams and the microwave memes, it's a real world outside. Your idols, take off the runway, take off the Cairo. The Sandro pay, 5-day stay, take a quarter meal.
Looking at Isaac Thompson's last 4 fights, he has a record of 3-1, coming off 1 victory followed by a loss and opening up his MMA career with 2 wins. Vince, we talked about the subtle rule differences between the pros and the AMI. It seems very subtle to us, but explain how it slightly differs between being an amateur and being a professional.
With knees to the head and elbows to the head, now we're talking about a different ball game, really. You can no longer hang out against the cage. You can no longer hang out in a clinch with your head low or anything. Knees are coming up the middle if your head's too low. Also, the elbow can come right over the top, your head's hanging there. It's a dangerous game, and elbows and knees, they cut and slice like, they're like big knuckles.
And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, let's welcome out Ben Hollier.
Ben Hollier, of course, no stranger to the Front Street Fights cage. He has fought here many times. Now, Ben was supposed to be on another fight next week. His opponent for his fight next week got hurt. He wanted to take a fight here, so he was presented with this opportunity by matchmaker Vita Arteaga. So now he has been training, and this is where the change comes in. You have been training for another opponent, for a different fight in a different town. In effectively less than a week, you've got to change everything up. What is Ben going through right now? What is he being told by his coaches? Like, how quick do you have to change that training program?
Really what we're looking to change at that point is not the whole game. We've already worked for 8, 9, 10 weeks on a particular strategy. We've worked a lot of drills. We've done a lot of specific things. We're going to continue that game plan. We're just going to make tweaks that might be specific to this opponent. Maybe he's more of a striker than we expected. We're going to look to adjust with the footwork and the range a little bit differently. Maybe he's a bit more of a grappler. We'll make sure that our sprawls are strong and sharp. But really at that point, we've implemented such a strong game plan and really so much strategy that we can't just throw that all out the window and reconfigure what we're going to do for this new opponent. We're just going to make micro adjustments.
Ben coming off of 2 straight losses, so this obviously a very important fight for him. It is time to take a look at our tale of the tape for our first professional fight of the night. Our tale of the tape, of course, brought to you by Miller Lite. 12 years of age difference goes to Ben Hollier. 1 inch height advantage goes to Isaac Thompson. Weight virtually the same. That reach advantage about 1 inch. So very even matchup. How is this all going to play out? Is Ben going to overcome his final 2 losses? We are about to find out as we get ready to go inside the cage as Ben Hollier gets his final check there from the cage side physicians. A lot of focus coming from Ben right now. Let's send it inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Talbot.
Ladies and gentlemen, Our first pro fight is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in the Front Street Fights lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner to my left, coming on the record of 3 victories against just 1 defeat. Standing in at an even 5 feet 9 inches, weighing in at an even 146 pounds, fighting out of Sacramento, California, representing Team Alpha Male, please welcome Isaac Thompson. His opponent, fighting out of the red corner, with a record of 6 wins against just 3 defeats, standing in at 5 feet 8 inches, weighing in at 145.9 pounds, fighting out of Boise, Idaho, representing SPG Idaho, please welcome Ben Hollier. Our referee when the action begins is Mr. Tom Supnet.
Referee Tom Supnet ensuring that the cage door is locked. It is indeed underway, and we are underway with our first pro fight of the night of Front Street Fights 25, presented by Project Filter.
Really like what we're seeing here. Early feints, trying to see what each guy's really dealing with, trying to pull something out, seeing where they're going to be weak on their defenses. I like that.
You know, the implementation of strategy that I'm going to have for Isaac as his corner man is I'm going to have him use every bit of that inch of reach. We know Ben's a wrestler. He's going to know Ben's a wrestler.
Ben shooting the single leg takedown. Good counter there by Thompson, coming in with the right and the left. How crucial was that for not only Thompson to block that takedown, but counter with a couple of punches?
It's going to be critically important for him to follow that up with a counter.
Spinning back hit attempt there by Hollier.
It's going to give him the confidence to know that he can evade that big takedown from Ben that he knows is coming.
Both men trying to feel out their opponents in this first 60 seconds of this first round. Big right attempt coming from Hollier. Now, Ben is a big wrestler, is purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Obviously, in jiu-jitsu, that gives you a lot of durability, gives you a lot of cardio. What have you seen so far from Ben in this first minute 15?
It's a little tentative on the feet with him. Thompson seems to be taking control on the feet early, especially after that first takedown attempt gets stuff. Usually that does one thing for either guy. Builds the confidence of the guy who stuffed it, and gets the guy who shot that early takedown.
Stiff left kick to the ribs there by Thompson.
Thompson's
running knee, falls down. Hollier trying to capitalize, going for a front takedown. A knee to the head. Thompson doing a good job removing Hollier's arm, getting him out of that. Hollier immediately going on the defense. Thompson once again coming in with a right and a left. A slip there from Hollier. A fury of rights and lefts coming from Thompson. He stops it right there that quick. Just a minute 58 into round number 1. Isaac Thompson, the TKO victory over Ben Hollier. Now, we saw the slip there. Did that look like a little bit of confusion? Maybe did the knee give out, or what did you see right there?
You know, it's interesting. Both fighters slipped in the same spot. Yeah, if I was one of these guys, I'd be maybe mopping that up a little bit because both of them slipped in that same spot. Isaac capitalized on it, though. That was the difference maker. He followed it up. He went for the kill. He did not waste any time. He didn't wait to see if it was a mistake or anything else. He just jumped right on it and pounced for the finish.
As we go to the Project Filter replay, you can see it, the slip coming up here by Hollier. That running knee attempt, that slip there is where Thompson fell, and you're going to see it. Hollier does the same thing, a little slip right there, but it's the capitalization of Thompson to get back on top and followed up with a fury of fists there.
It looked like Ben also ate a little stiff jab when he was coming in. Maybe it threw off his balance while he was mid-slip, but you never know in there. Sometimes it might have felt uncomfortable. It looked like he was a little hurt, and Thompson capitalized.
All right, well, let's get the official decision as we go back inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Salbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner via technical knockout at 155 of round 1. Your winner, fighting out of the blue corner, Isaac Thompson! Isaac, let's get a word here real quick. It's a tough fight, right? You're only 4 fights into your pro career. You're coming up to a a hostile environment here, home of your opponent, Ben Hollier. What did you expect and what did you get?
I expected him to try and wrestle me. I manifested getting that first finish. I got it. Like, I just thinking about, I'm gonna finish this guy. I'm gonna finish this guy, and I got that finish, and I'm super happy.
Is that a Sacramento accent?
Australian accent, not Sacramento.
All right, talk to us about, you brought one corner guy up here, and that's all you needed. Who do you want to thank back home? Everybody dialed in on YouTube.
I want to thank my parents. I wouldn't be here without them. I'd like to thank my coaches, Alex, my manager, Dave, all my training partners. It's my mom's birthday this week, so I got her a win for her birthday. It was cool. Thank you, Uriah, and make sure you guys cheer on Josh Emmett. He's fighting Yair soon in UFC. Let's go, Josh.
Tell us this before we let you go again. You're coming into a hostile environment. What's your impression of Boise and Front Street Fights? Was it done right?
Oh, yeah, man. I love Boise. Thank you for having me. Front Street Fights, thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Isaac Thompson!
Congratulations goes out to Isaac Thompson, picking up the TKO victory less than 2 minutes into round number 1. Certainly excited, as you heard there. Well, coming up on the other side of the break, our co-main event of the evening, Daryl the Fiesta Flores. He is going to take on Eddie Hawk, who has quite a background where he trains. We will get into that on the other side of the break when we return to Front Street Fights 25, presented by Project Filter.
We are here for the long run. Because we live here. We are based in Idaho, led in Idaho, with the mission of serving the people of Idaho. If every other health insurance company left the state, we would still be here. We're Blue Cross of Idaho. We're always on your side, and that will never change.
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app. I know this car got you through college, but check this out. In my credit, your credit score looks good. And there's a great rate on this auto loan so we can score a roomier ride. Whoa, who's driving this thing? The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Kenny here from Cloverdale Plumbing Company. When I'm out in restaurants or establishments around the valley, I see a lot of architectural use of steel pipe. That made me think Cloverdale Plumbing has the equipment to fab pipe and have done so for many years. I'm getting the word out that we can provide those services to anyone who has the need. We can thread as small as 1/8 inch all the way up to 6 inches. We're on Fairview between 5 Mile and Cloverdale Roads and easy to get to. We can fab for you.
Welcome to Twin Peaks.
Boise's most scenic place to catch every touchdown, home run, knockout, and slam dunk. Score big when you combine HD views, made from scratch food, and our teeth-chattering 29-degree draft beer. So what are you waiting for? Get your axe into Twin Peaks.
Some days, I choose the most difficult trail. I test my limits.
Taking the hard path isn't always easy, but I know it's the right way.
When I get done with my ride and I look back at what I've just accomplished, I feel amazing.
It takes courage and determination to do hard things.
But you can do them.
Quitting tobacco and vaping is possible.
You decide when. We'll show you how. Learn more at projectfilter.org or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
Your small business was built on big goals. At Sparklight Business, we want to help you crush them. With some of the fastest internet speeds in the country and 99.9% network reliability, you'll be unstoppable. Grow your team, scale up your business, and achieve greater success each day. And just like your best business partner, we'll be there when you need us, 24/7. Call Sparklight Business and ask how you can earn up to $500 in rewards when you switch.
Front Street Fights is brought to you by Restore Hyper Wellness and Cryotherapy, Zoa Energy, Miller Lite, Taste you can depend on. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Zero the sugar, all the flavor.
Welcome back alive inside Idaho Central Arena for Front Street Fights 25, presented by ProjectFilter.org. It is time for our co-main event of the evening, and we are going to send it back inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Salbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, we move to our co-main event of the evening. This fight is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in the Front Street Fights catchweight division. Tonight's co-main event is brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, helping members achieve financial success. Now it's time to meet our fighters. First, fighting out of the blue corner, Eddie Hoke.
Frankie Murray. Keep your mouth shut.
Now, one interesting note of Eddie Hoke, teammates with Isaac Thompson that we saw in that last fight. Both Isaac Thompson and Eddie Hoke train out of Team Alpha Male, which, if anybody knows Team Alpha Male, that is owned by UFC legend Uriah Faber. Knowing your opponent trains at a gym like that, I mean, what does that say? Obviously, Vince, you have experience in the UFC. I'm sure you've run into Uriah, or you've heard, obviously, know about him. What kind of experience in teaching? I mean, we saw it with Isaac Thompson, but what do you expect from Eddie Hoke here?
A lot of the same, really. I expect him to be really calm. I expect him to know how to control the cage. I expect him to not feel like he's out of place. It seems like he's got, from what I was watching on film, he's even got some bare knuckle boxing. He's got some boxing experience. He's well-rounded. He comes to scrap. I think he's going to have some hard takedown defense. I'm excited for this one. This is going to be a great fight.
Vince just touched on it, Cameron. He also has bare knuckle boxing background. I mean, you can't take that lightly. You know he's game to throw. You know he's game to get in there and just brawl. So you know he's trained by Uriah Faber. He's a bear, like, this guy's a beast. What's your mindset? What are you telling your opponent? What are you telling Daryl coming into this fight?
What I'm telling Daryl is we really need to lean into the grappling. Daryl comes to us with a judo black belt, a jiu-jitsu black belt, and a lifetime of wrestling. I'm going to use my striking to close the distance, get my hands on Eddie, take him down, and really overwhelm him with the grappling.
And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, Daryl Flores.
Again, we continue on the theme of the night of everything has changed. Daryl's original opponent didn't back out due to injury. He took another fight with PFL. Of course, that is a huge opportunity for an upcoming fighter, so congratulations goes out to his original opponent. You mentioned that Daryl has a really good grappling background, but I think something to watch in this, knowing that Eddie Hoke, bare knuckle boxing, he loves to punch, obviously. He made a living off of it. Daryl is coming off a pretty big injury. He suffered a broken orbital bone in his last Front Street fights against Nathan Stolen. How much of a factor do you think that might be? Obviously, it takes a while to heal from that. Is there maybe some confidence issues? Are you unsure, like, taking that first hit after breaking that bone in a loss to Nathan Stolen?
You're definitely going to be reticent for some of that striking exchange, which is going to be really important, that when Daryl looks to strike, he does a good job countering, and he's very, very defensive with his striking. That way he can play into his grappling strength of closing that distance, and he doesn't have to deal with so much of eating those strikes and perhaps re-injuring himself.
Well, as we get ready for our co-main event, it is time to look at our tale of the tape, brought to you by Miller Lite. Taste you can depend on. Age pretty much the same. Height dead same. Weight, everything you're looking at in front of you, weight and reach pretty much even. The big storyline, as we just hit on, is Daryl recovered from the injury? Will that take effect? Will the background in the training of Eddie Hoke be able to overcome and get the victory over Daryl Flores? All those questions and much more will be answered as we head back inside the cage right now with cage announcer Britt Salbert.
Our co-main event of the night is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds in the catchweight bout in Front Street Fights, 165 pounds. Introducing first, Fighting out of the blue corner with a record of 11 wins against just 5 defeats. Standing in at 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in 163 pounds. Fighting out of Sacramento, California, representing Team Alpha Male. Welcome, Eddie Hoke. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. Coming into tonight's co-main event with a record of 7 wins against 6 defeats. Also standing in at 5 feet 9 inches, weighing in at 164 pounds, fighting out of Boise, Idaho, representing SPG Idaho. It is Daryl La Fiesta Flores. Our referee when the action begins is Nasty Nate Decker.
The 7-6 record of Daryl Flores is on the line against 11-5 Eddie Hoke. The training, the experience, the injuries, will they all come into play? We find out as Nate Decker signifies we are underway. Round number 1 of our co-main event of the evening. Both men trading outside kicks to start the fight. A lot of patience being displayed by both men right now. Eddie Hoke laser focused on the face of Flores, maybe knowing he has that injury. A left and a right attempt, good block by Hoke. Another outside kick going in for the left is Flores. Virtually the same. Flores going for that background of wrestling, but ends up falling down into a takedown of Hoke.
Yeah, that was well timed, really, especially a great way to counter on Daryl's entry there. He got his double underhooks. That was how he dragged him down so easy like that.
Now what you're seeing again, we saw it at the very top of the fight, patience being displayed by both men. Hoke really slowing the pace down right now.
Yeah, Hoke's doing a good job with the connection. Connection is so important in this position. Now he's going to look to really bring Daryl's posture down and get a leg inside and probably go to his back. If not, secure another takedown and work from there.
Using the leg to get Hoke down, but now Flores capitalizes. He gets top position. Hoke able to flip him back over. Very interesting exchange, what we just saw right there.
What a grappling exchange. Just an unexpected reversal twice in a row. That nice takedown into the roll there.
Yeah, that was very impressive, really. To roll him over from being full mounted like that, you know, Hoke is very strong.
Minute 15 into round number 1 between Hoke and Flores. A lot of patience. We've seen the pace of this fight. A lot of quick explosions, furies, whether it's attempted takedowns, whether it's punches, outside kicks. But both men, once those flurries come out, doing a really good job of kind of resetting and slowing their pace. What is that doing? You get those flurries and then you slow things down.
It really wears on the gas tank a little bit because those flurries are there because of a lot of it's nervous energy. That's why they're patient on the outside and then they clash and then break again and they're patient and then they clash. There's just a lot of energy being exchanged in those clashes.
You hear some boo setting up from the crowd, obviously probably wanting referee Nate Decker to stand these two up, but a lot of people don't see what's going on right now, trying to figure each other out. You can see the hands moving around. Flores trying to get in there to break up the hold as the crowd starts coming in for Daryl, the Fiesta Flores. What are you seeing happening right now with these two gentlemen?
What Hoke was doing really well there was he had that bottom wrist trap. He's lost it now, but I think he needs to get back to that because that eliminated a lot of Daryl's base. He wasn't allowed to build back up because of that. Kept good hip pressure. That was a great position.
Hoke displaying a lot of body control over Flores right now. What are you telling both gentlemen from the corner position?
I'm telling Eddie Hoke to improve position. He's doing a good job keeping Daryl down, but the reason why this is such a stalemate right now is that Eddie's not securing a pass.
Flores able to get back up, and Hoke again staying right on top of him, keeping him pressed against the cage. Who is expending more energy right now? Is it more taxing to be, oh, good reversal, a takedown by Flores, able to get the leg sweep.
There's that black belt judo, that was great.
Seemingly out of nowhere, I was about to ask you, who's it more taxing to, being pressed against the cage or doing the one like holding him back? But obviously Daryl got a lot in the gas tank left as this fight has been completely reversed. Flores has him locked up, getting in a couple of rights. He's got them all tangled up, keeping that control on there, not letting it go. Has the left arm of Hoke locked in tight. Oh, double leg takedown by Hoke.
That was very impressive. Hoke did a good job staying calm there, making sure he got his own arms back wrapped around Daryl's legs. That's how he got that takedown.
And again, we're back to what we saw just about a minute ago as we enter this final round of round number 1. Both men down, kind of slowing down the pace, figuring each other out. Hoke has an arm around the back, an arm under the legs. Flores doing a good job keeping his arm under Hoke's to take that away from him, sneaking in the rights when he can.
I'm giving Eddie the same response I would have earlier. We've got to advance position. Pinning him down is not going to be enough in a match like this. We've got to pass. We've got to look to get to the back. And right now we're once again in this stalemate position. Eddie got a great takedown. Now we need to work off of it. Improve position. Go for something. He could pull that foot out from bottom and get another takedown if he looks to.
You're winning this position.
10 seconds left in round number 1. Both men seem to be content to let this final 10 seconds just kind of run out here, take that break, and get into round number 2. Very exciting first round that we saw from both gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely great first round. It's interesting. You were talking earlier about who was expending more energy. It's dead even a lot of times. There's a spurt to get up. There's a spurt to reestablish that position there. It's going to be interesting. See who can maintain this and kind of not let that wear on their gas tank too much going forward.
As we're taking a look at the Project Filter replay, a lot of cat and mouse, almost in anything you can do, I can do better. A lot of reversals, a lot of takedowns. Kind of both men a little tit for tat, like anything you can do, I can also do. Watch this.
Yeah, absolutely. They traded takedowns. I lost track of who won the takedown battle in that match. There were so many, along with the reversals. It was a really, really good round by both of these guys. But what we need to strategize for both of these guys is it's great to get takedowns, but now we need to secure that control. We need to go for the pins. We need to advance that position and really dominate off of that.
If you could pick an edge going into round number 2, does anybody have an edge, or are we still pretty dead even in this fight?
I'd say maybe a confidence edge leaning towards Hoke, just because he did hold Daryl. Whether or not what he did with it was effective, he held him down a little more than Daryl was up.
The cage door is closed. Referee Nate Decker gives the signal. We are underway in round number 2. This is our co-main event of Front Street Fights 25, presented by ProjectFilter.org. Much like the first, good exchange of hands there. Much like we saw in the first 60 seconds of the first round, a little bit of a slow pace. Oh, looks like potentially an injury there to Daryl. Went in for that left jab. Seemed to collapse a little bit. Hoke doing a good job of capitalizing on that, but also at this point, Daryl doing a good job fending off that flurry from Hoke.
Yeah, that was interesting. I couldn't tell I don't know if he hurt his hand when he threw the punch or tweaked his knee from the way he twisted going in. I don't know. That was very interesting.
Obviously, you're in the middle of a fight right now. It's kind of hard. You probably know in your body what doesn't feel right. Something like, are you a little freaked out right now? How do you control yourself? What are you doing if you're in the cage right now and you think you may have just sustained an injury?
If it's me, there's a task on hand. We're on a mission. Regardless of what's going on, we got to find a way to work around it, work through it, and still come out on top.
Hoke exploring the left leg of Flores with that kick. Potentially, maybe that's where the injury came from, and it looks like it did. Maybe something in the knee. Hoke knows that. He's going there. Takes another one. A right-left after a leg kick from Flores. Regardless of the injury, Flores still in there fighting, not showing any quit.
Beautiful combination. And we really see a different result now. At first, Daryl was eating the punches, and he had to close the distance and get together.
Good takedown by Daryl.
If I'm Daryl's corner, I'm screaming, we need to not go for those Hail Mary submissions. We need to establish control. We need to pin our opponent down. He's doing the right things now by doing that.
2 minutes into round number 2, the big story developing within the last 90 seconds. Potential leg injury to Flores, obviously we don't know. Does not seem to be affecting him at all right now.
Yeah, right now he's in a good position. What he needs to focus on is doing damage, making sure this guy pays for the position that he's in.
How crucial is it when you've basically got the cross hold on him right now to do everything you can to literally win this fight right now?
That crucifix is big. I mean, Hoke really can't do much right here. If he can really establish this crucifix, he can start landing some good elbows and really do some significant damage that can really lead his way for the rest of the fight.
Daryl's doing a good job. He just secured that arm with his leg. That's going to take a weapon away, both offensively and defensively, from Hope. Now he's raining down those punches. Daryl's doing a great job controlling the hands.
The hometown crowd getting behind the Fiesta. He's got the crucifix, the back position, the rights coming in. Is this going to be where the fight is stopped? Is Hope going to be able to get out of this? Is he going to show referee Nate Decker something to let this fight continue? So far, that answer is yes. Those hammer fists coming hard from the Fiesta. Hope showing a little sign of life right now, able to get back up to one leg, so yes, the fight will continue.
He did a great job freeing his hands. Eddie Hoke, he's just freeing that one hand. That's enough to keep him in the fight. That's enough to tell the ref, I'm still in this. I still got this. I'm not pinned. I'm not stuck. I'm going to work my way out of this. Give me a little room to work.
90 seconds left in round number 2. Flores all control over these last couple of minutes.
90 seconds is a lifetime in this position as well, so Hoke's really got to do something because he's just going to keep eating these punches. It's going to wear on him. It's going to show in the next round. He's really got to get out of this.
He's got that crucifix locked in from the back position. Those rights are coming in hard again. How much more of this can Hoke survive? The hometown crowd starting to come alive for Daryl the Fiesta Flores. Is this going to be it? Is Hope going to show anything to referee Nate Decker to let this fight continue? 1 minute left in round number 2. Can Flores finish off the fight right here, or is Hope going to get to the much-needed break that he needs right now? Flores doing a good job stretching him out even more, taking more of that control away from Hope, pressing down on the neck.
If I'm Daryl, I'm getting nothing but more confident. I know that I'm securing the right things to really dominate this position, and I know the referee's really tight on this, watching for me to finish this guy. I'm using every punch I can. I'm securing hands. I'm taking weapons away. I want to show the referee this guy cannot stand
everything
anymore
you're saying he is doing. Hope's corner yelling into referee Nate Decker. Nate Decker yelling right back to him.
I think they're trying to say those are to the back of the head. But
10 seconds left in round number 1. Of course, words will be exchanged. If we get to the end of this round, it looks like we are going to get there when all hope seemingly was lost by Hope. Flores able to keep that control on. And again, you kind of touched it on. We saw it there. Hope's corner kind of yelling into referee Nate Decker. Nate Decker having some words back. What do you think was being said there between the two?
The commission tells us before the fight, there's 2 inches on the back of the skull from the base of the neck to the top of the head where it's illegal to hit. I think his corner was trying to say that he was hitting the back of the head. It looked like he was getting right behind the ears. So
as we go to the Project Filter replay, you can see there it was that wobble by Flores. Were you concerned? Was it the knee? Something injured the kick by Hope there. Obviously aggravated whatever is going on with Flores' knee. So definitely don't want to shy away from that. But again, it was that takedown right there you saw by Flores, and it was from there to the end of the round that Daryl had all of the control.
Absolutely, and if I'm Daryl's corner, I'm telling him, let's go back to that judo. Those throws work. Clearly, Eddie is ready for some wrestling, but he's not. He's susceptible to those throws in that judo, and that worked very well for Daryl. Let's close the distance. Let's keep the hands up. Let's watch for those leg kicks, but as soon as we set up a shot, let's keep the hands going. Let's get inside. Let's get to those hips and put it down.
All right, we're about ready to start our third and final round of our co-main event. We are underway. It is Daryl the Fiesta Flores against Eddie Hoke. That knee still bothering Flores. So knowing that your knee's a little weak, your base is a little weak, what are you doing right now, Vince?
Trying to get in there and tie it up a little bit.
Both men seem to be throwing hands. Oh, Flores eats a right and a left.
He threw some good stuff too.
He seems to be rocked. He throws her right back to Hoke. Both men just willing to stand up and trade blows at this point. Flores is rocked. Hoke misses the takedown there.
He dove on that guillotine way too early.
Get up right away, get up.
Now, we saw something very interesting right there. Obviously, the left knee of Flores still very weak. Hoke able to rock him with a couple of good rights and lefts. Flores able to come back and knock Hoke with a couple of rights and lefts. Again, just when you think one opponent has an advantage, it seems to be back to almost 50-50.
Absolutely. What an exchange back and forth with those guys, as you mentioned. Daryl did a great job keeping his composure. It's easy to get rattled. It's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to think that you're out of this fight. Daryl still has that dog in him.
Hogue able to gain position on Flores. Of course, Flores relying heavily on his judo background.
Yeah, Daryl's really got to build up his base and try to reverse his position right now. He was in a good spot. He's in a good spot from where the fight was, so he's really got to do something to change this.
Of course, a lot of your power in MMA, whether it's with judo, whether it's wrestling, obviously kicks, anything with punches, a lot of your power and your base comes from your legs, knowing you have a weakened leg. Again, we don't want to speculate on what injury he may or may not have, but it's very obvious that his left knee, his left leg is bothering him. How do you have to adjust on the fly? Again, you said we have one goal right now, but knowing your base is a little weakened, how do you change this?
It's very frustrating because, like you were saying, all of our power is generated from the ground up. If you're not stable on the ground because of your leg, it's hard to generate some power. It's a difficult task. It's not impossible. You just got to find a way to reverse this position, get on top, and get back to doing damage like he ended that last round with.
Hogue with back position on Flores right now, has the arms wrapped around the upper body. Now Flores in his corner right now. What are you telling your fighter right now?
What I'm telling Eddie is once again, we've got to take advantage of this position. He did a good job pinning him down, but that's not going to be enough. The difference is that's a very similar position as to what Daryl had on
back
him in
up
the
to his
last
feet,
round.
eats a knee from Hogue, gets a couple of rights. Both men up to their base.
Daryl's going to be looking for that throw here in a second.
Eddie's going back to that trip.
Both men have been successful with the takedowns. A little bit of a fall by both. A left from Hogue, a couple of uppercuts from Flores. Subtle but effective as we enter the final 2 minutes of our co-main event here at Front Street Fights 25, presented by Project Filter. Hogue able to get Flores back down to the ground and get back position.
That's the adjustment he needed really from that throw. He stepped out, he let him fall through, and took us back there.
Round number one, pretty even for both men. No question Flores had the advantage in round number two. So far in round number three, the edge would probably be going to Hogue. We are in the final 90 seconds. What do you need to see from both fighters?
What I need to see from Eddie is some attempt to finish. Again, he's got good control, but there's really no advantageous offense from him at all. There's no striking. There's no attempts for submissions. We've got to get a finish here. I'm not confident that my fighters won enough of this to take a decision, so we've got to secure that finish, or at least leave it in the minds of the judges that we're looking to get that finish.
60 seconds left in our third and final round of our co-main event. Flores looking for some sort of arm hold. Hogue seemingly content to really just, I don't want to say lay on Flores, but really put his weight and advantage, his body on top of Flores, and really seems to be making Flores work for everything right now.
But like what was just said, we need some damage established. He's got to be doing something big here. Definitely after that second round, that could have been a 10-8 round. He was getting beat up pretty bad for the last 2 minutes of that.
30 seconds left.
We need something big still.
Are we going to see an explosive finish from either of these gentlemen? Has Hogue done enough in this third and final round to bring home the victory? Or is Daryl the Fiesta Flores going to get the victory? We are going into our final 10 seconds. This one seemingly will be going to the judges. And there it is. Our co-main event of the evening is wrapped up. This one will be going to the judges' scorecard. Of course, Eddie Hogue showing the confidence that he came away with the victory. Man, I got to tell you guys, it's very hard to predict who. You don't know what the judges are thinking. It's really hard to predict. Of course, we were talking about round number one, very even between both men as we go to the Project Filter replay. You can see Daryl kind of wincing in pain, that is, from that left leg injury, whatever it may be. But again, round number one, pretty split between both men. Both had some key moments. Round number two, the advantage. There was that missed takedown there by Hogue. And again, Hogue seems confident. Daryl seems really kind of unsure what to say right there. But again, round number two definitely went to Daryl. Round number three, seemingly, from the naked eye, goes to Hogue. So now, how do either one of you see this one coming out real quickly?
It kind of comes down to that first round. I don't know. Or that second round. Could be a draw.
There's two critical scoring elements to this. There's round one, which one got the more takedowns, which one exhibited more control, but the second round is key too. As Vince said, that could be a 10-8 round in the mind of some of these judges.
Of course, it is always hard to predict what the judges saw from that. Every judge obviously sitting around the cage, not next to each other. And you got to wonder, as a judge's decision takes a little bit longer, the more time goes by. Vince, you're sitting there, you've had some rounds go, or some fights go to a judge's decision. What's going through your mind right there? You know, sometimes you know a fight, like maybe the other guy had control most of the time, and you kind of have a feeling it's going to go his way. But again, this one seemed very 50-50. Yeah. As a fighter, what's going through your mind while you're waiting for that scorecard to come back in?
I'm going through my checklist. I'm making sure, okay, did I do enough damage here? Did I have enough time on top here? Was I controlling the cage here? Just going through my checklist. For me, I'm always thinking, if I'm going to the judges, that I did enough to win it somewhere. So I'm just making that case for myself at this point.
Well, we talked about the injury that Daryl had sustained in his last fight against Daryl Flores, that broken orbital bone. That seemed to not play a factor, but now you kind of got to wonder. We saw it several times tonight. Of course. The left leg was very weakened. Is it just sore? We don't really know. So obviously the orbital bone, fine. But now going forward, what's your concern about a potential new injury?
You know, my concern is definitely going to be that knee. Luckily, Daryl's standing on it fine. He's moving on it fine. And a sign for me as a coach and cornerman, he's not shaking anything out. He's not rubbing anything. He's not giving me any indication that there's any sort of damage. However, I'm still going to monitor that, especially as things cool down. When that body cools down, then we know what's injured, and we can really feel it. It can really stand out. But
you saw it a couple times on the replay right there. As soon as he planted, the knee kind of buckled. So, well, we're going to find out what was a fairly even fight in our eyes has come down to the judges. How did the judges see it? We are going to find out right now as we go back inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Talbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the judges' scorecard, how about a round of applause for both these warriors in our co-main event tonight? Eddie Hoke for coming up from Sacramento. We're good to happy to have him here. We will go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Mike Michelson scores about 29-28. Hoke. Judge Aaron Welling scores the fight 30-27. Flores. Our third and final judge, Tim Turner, scores this bout 28-28. We have a split draw in our co-main event.
The crowd not happy with that. I believe for the first time in the history of Front Street Fights, a split draw.
Those are rare. That's crazy. That's what I was saying, though. It kind of came down to that, how they scored that second round.
Daryl, if we can get a word real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, La Fiesta here. I have to ask you, early in the second round, it looks like you hyperextended your knee.
Oh, yeah. That was tough to fight on. Slow fight. Every time I threw a lead hook, I'd lose my footing, so it was tough.
A tough finish here to a good fight tonight. You guys went at it all 3 rounds. What is next for you and your team, Daryl?
Well, I'm going to go back and train like I always do. Comp team guys. Hell yeah. I train at 6 in the morning with those guys every day, and they put it on me. So just go back and train and see what comes next.
Who else do you want to thank here tonight? You brought out a great crowd to this Front Street fight. Daryl, who do you want to thank?
First, I want to start off by thanking my all-pro crew. All-pro, let's go. Espinosa's Painting, Treetop Recycling, Ground Effects, Amazing Painting, all you guys. Thank you so much. Tiger 2, thank you so much. And, of course, my wife and kids for putting up with so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for La Fiesta. Make some noise here for Eddie Hoke, came up from Sacramento. Weird fight. I appreciate you guys coming up tonight. You don't get here on your own. Who do you want to thank here tonight, Eddie?
Man, I did a lot on my own. I came out here on 2 weeks' notice. You know,
all respect to La Fiesta, man. Guy's a warrior. Y'all can give it up for him. Go ahead. Go ahead. Now I'm gonna tell you the truth. I won that fight. So, yeah.
What's next for you after this? What do you do now, Eddie?
I'm going home and getting the fuck out of Boise.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Hogue from Sacramento.
Obviously, a lot of frustration displayed there by Eddie Hogue, and frustration by Daryl Flores. Again, to my knowledge, the first time in the history of Front Street Fights, we have had a split draw. Very rare in the MMA world. Really quick, do either of you agree with that?
30-27, I don't agree with. Whoever judged that, I want to talk to you. But I did think it was kind of a draw. I'm okay with the draw.
I agree with Vince. I think the 30-27 is unreasonable, but the draw was a predictable outcome. We talked about that 10-8 round being a real difference maker in the scoring. One judge clearly saw that as a 10-8 round. The other two saw something a little bit different.
Well, some post-fight fireworks displayed there verbally from Eddie Hogue as he makes his way back down to Sacramento. And speaking of fireworks, we have got one more to go. It is our main event of the evening. We talked about it at the top of the show. We're going to look at it right now. This was the weigh-ins yesterday between Ricky Steele and Joe PENAFIEL, who took this fight on 1 week's notice. The stare down and then the pushes. Back and forth they go. Is there any lingering fireworks between the two? We're going to find out on the other side of the break. The main event of Front Street Fights 25, The Reason You Are All Here Tonight, is next. Presented by ProjectFilter.org.
Welcome to Twin Peaks.
Boise's most scenic place to catch every touchdown, home run, knockout, and slam dunk. Score big when you combine HD views, made from scratch food, and our teeth-chattering 29-degree draft beer. So what are you waiting for? Get your axe into Twin Peaks.
My double bonus jack combo gives you double the seasoned beef, double the cheese for $5.99. Let's see that again. Double beef, double cheese for, $5.99. Huh, good deal.
Come home to faster internet and greater savings when you switch to Sparklight's Lightning Fast Internet. Call now and connect your home for as low as $50 a month for 3 months. You'll want to stay in and stream the night away with speeds up to 1 gig. And whole home Wi-Fi that wows in every room. Cozy up with 99.99% reliability. Bring it all home with Sparklight Internet for as low as $50 a month for 3 months. Plus, act now and get free installation. Call us today or scan the code to speed up and save.
Kenny here from Cloverdale Plumbing Company. When I'm out in restaurants or establishments around the valley, I see a lot of architectural use of steel pipe. That made me think Cloverdale Plumbing has the equipment to fab pipe and have done so for many years. I'm getting the word out that we can provide those services to anyone who has the need. We can thread as small as 1/8 inch all the way up to 6 inches. We're on Fairview between 5 Mile and Cloverdale Roads and easy to get to. We can fab for you.
I've got that blue sky, I've got that sunshine.
Keep your holidays in sync with free pickup on all your fresh favorites from Fred Meyer. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
It's me, your Idaho Central Credit Union app. Oof, that's gonna cost ya. Don't look so worried. Applying for a visa on a Saturday? I know who'll answer our questions. Please be Abby, please be Abby. Abby! Video chat to the rescue. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Front Street Fights is brought to you by Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views. Pepsi Zero Sugar, zero the sugar, all the flavor. Blue Cross of Idaho, we're on your side. Project Filter, you decide when, we'll show you how.
Welcome back live inside Idaho Central Arena as we get ready for the main event of Front Street Fights 25 presented by ProjectFilter.org. Let's waste no time and go back inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Sauber.
Ladies and gentlemen, we move to our main event of the evening, our sixth and final fight of the evening. This fight is scheduled for 5-minute rounds and is the main card tonight. This fight is brought to you by Project Filter. You decide when, we'll show you how. Let's meet our combatants first. Fighting out of the blue corner, Joe PENAFIEL.
Joe PENAFIEL.
When the sun goes down.
If we can for a minute, just go ahead and rank walkout songs. I'm going to go ahead and say this is the best one of the night. I'm a country guy.
I can appreciate that. Not my favorite, but I can appreciate the vibes.
It's okay to be wrong, Vince, but this is absolutely number one without a doubt.
Okay, now the big question is, which one of the two of you did the TikTok dance when it was a trend last year?
It was definitely Vince.
I tried.
And of course, you saw the fireworks, as we've been calling them, from the weigh-ins yesterday. Now, Joe PENAFIEL, again, not the original opponent for Ricky Steele. 1 week ago today, Ricky's original opponent fell off due to a thumb fracture. Matchmaker Vida Ortega found Joe via a Facebook group. Social media is great for a lot of things, including this. Got a hold of Joe. They signed the contract the same day. Now, the big thing for Joe, when he took this fight, he said, I want to give the fans what they want. I don't mind being the villain. So he knows he's coming into enemy territory. He is from Orlando, Florida, flew all the way across the country in less than 1 week. Always tries to stay in shape, always training, as you see a lot of fighters do. But when you're flying from all the way across the country, now Joe has never taken a fight on 1 week notice. He's done 2 weeks before, but not 1 week. You take a fight on 1 week notice, you literally have got to go from the East Coast almost to the West Coast, and believe me, I do the flight from Boise to Orlando and back about once a month. It's not an easy flight. How much of a disadvantage? Is it a disadvantage for Joe?
I think that's why you saw him embrace that sort of villain mindset, because it is a disadvantage. But the bad guys always have weird ways of dealing with stuff, and I think that's why you saw him shoving at weigh-ins. He's doubling down on that villain sort of mindset. Kudos to him for taking the fight on a week notice. He's got some solid experience there. I can't wait to see what he can do in here.
Joe PENAFIEL holding a 10-4 record. Looking at his last 5 fights, it's either been win, it's been loss. You see 3 decisions, an armbar, and 1 knockout. So really a wide array of victories that is for Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, he kind of has a mental advantage here a little bit. Coming in with a week's notice fight, you're displaying an absurd amount of confidence by saying, yeah, I'll travel across the country. Yeah, I'll do that on a week's notice. I'm ready. I'm in shape. I'm here to go. I don't care who it's against. I'm going to take this fight and run with it.
He's taking this fight. He's running with it. He's eating up right now, man. He's playing to the crowd. You said he's playing that villain role. Mind games off the bat from Joe.
Absolutely. You know, the push at the fights yesterday, the walk-in music, the confidence to take a fight on this short of notice. This guy has a very, very high charisma personality. I love it. And he displays that in the cage. I've seen him fight before. He's got a very high pressure, quick hand style. He likes to move forward. He likes to be aggressive. He likes to show off.
It's going to be risky to do against somebody like Ricky Steele, that hands-down style. He's going to leave himself kind of open for some head kicks I see from Ricky Steele. It's going to be interesting.
And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, Ricky Steele.
And you hear the very familiar entrance music for Ricky the Karate Kid Steele. Vince, you said you always change your song. You've never kept it the same. In all the fights that I have ever called for Ricky the Karate Kid Steele, it's that same song. It's the same vibe. It's the same feeling. Is it You know, you spoke to the music. Is it familiarity that helps you in that last 15, 20 seconds before you step in the cage?
I think so. I think it's a little bit of that. It's a lot like the football players who never always wear the same pair of socks going into their games. Something a bit of a superstitious. Sometimes it plays into their advantage.
The confident walk of Ricky Steele as he makes his way towards the cage here at Idaho Central Arena. Now, there were talks about making this a catch-weight fight, but Joe agreed again to the 135 weight limit. He did try, again, on a week's notice, he did try to get down to 135. He did miss it. Both fighters agreed to continue to the fight. Is that another factor to consider?
It could be. I mean, he still tried. He still came close. They both accepted the fight. It is what it is.
Ricky Steele displaying a 7-2 record, coming fresh off a win, preceded by 2 losses, preceded by 2 wins. A lot to unpack in our main event here tonight. As Ricky Steele gets his final checks from the cage side physicians, it is time to take a look at our tale of the tape, brought to you by Miller Lite. Taste you can depend on. We're expecting a lot of fireworks from here. The 2-year age advantage goes to PENAFIEL. The 2-inch height advantage goes to Steele. 3-inch weight advantage for PENAFIEL, and a few 5 inches in the reach category to Ricky Steele. So it's either one category to one fighter, one category to the other. A lot of experience on both sides. Is that week notice? That 1 week notice, who is that going to play to? Will it be Joe PENAFIEL or will it be Ricky Steele? We are about to find out as we go inside the cage with cage announcer Britt Salbert.
Fight fans, it is time! Here we go! This fight is scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds, and is our main event of the night. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. With a record of 10 victories against just 4 defeats, standing in at 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 138 pounds. Fighting out of Orlando, Florida, representing Fusion Excel Performance. Please welcome Joe, the Party, PENAFIEL. His opponent fighting out of the red corner with a record of 7 wins against just 2 defeats. Standing in at 5 feet 10 inches pounds, weighing 135 pounds, fighting out of Boise, Idaho. Please welcome Ricky, the Karate Kid, Steele. When the action begins, our official tonight will be Tom Subnet, who will now give fighter instructions.
All right, guys. Follow my instructions at all times. Defend yourself at all times. Let's keep it clean, but make it exciting. Touch them up.
Fight fans, are you ready? Time for a downtown throwdown.
It is time for the main event for Front Street Fights 25, presented by ProjectFilter.org. This is the fight you've been waiting for, and it is on. They don't call him the Karate Kid for nothing. Steele throwing a couple early kicks. Both men just staring daggers into one another. You saw a couple of brief smiles there from PENAFIEL. Ricky displaying, again, that Karate Kid. Spin attempt kick, PENAFIEL throwing it right back in his face. A 1-2 into a leg kick. Another leg kick by Steele.
Steele's looking sharp right out the gate. Hasn't missed on that body kick. Leg kick kicks are quick. He's on it.
Not sure he's even blinked once.
Throwing really good kicks from Ricky Steele. He's got to be careful not to land with his foot and focus on landing with the shin so he can do the damage. The foot's just not going to do the damage that Ricky needs to do. He does come to us with that 4th degree Kaishinkan black belt, which teaches striking like this, but he needs to land with the impact of those shins.
PENAFIEL showing that confidence. Maybe some take it as cockiness. You see some shoulder shrugs. He gets the come on as Ricky throws a good left. looking for another outside leg kick. Again, I'm not sure Ricky's even blinked once.
No, he seems relatively unfazed by all the bravado that Penafiel is showing.
Stoic to the core.
Ricky able to get a couple lefts and rights in there. Inside a leg kick. Again, laser focused on his opponent, working the legs. Again, weakening the base. We saw it in the last fight. When your base is weakened, that could take out a lot of your game.
Yeah, Ricky still, all those karate blitzes, those are working real well in his favor. He's controlling the cage good. He's moving on the outside good. Penafiel looks a little lost in there.
Good right from STEELE. Just about halfway through round number 1. STEELE doing a good job of getting the leg down, followed up by left and right combination.
You know, Penafiel is doing something interesting. He keeps switching stances. I'm anxious to see if this is part of his offensive strategy or if those leg kicks are really taking effect.
One thing from Penafiel that we've noticed is he's willing to stand in there and take a couple to get to one. You just saw it right there. Took a couple good shots from STEELE, but was able to give one back to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ricky's got to watch out for that because he's throwing some of these blitzes and his chin staying high, which is anything about boxing and fighting. It's keep that chin tucked.
Another left-right combination landing hard on Penafiel.
But he is looking sharp in there. He's not missing. He's on fire right now. He's looking great.
Ooh, you saw a little unsuredness from Penafiel, but again, right back into it. Has a split second of maybe self-doubt, but right back into it. Spinning heel kick attempt by Penafiel. Good block by, thrown by STEELE, blocked by Penafiel.
Ricky's doing an excellent job measuring these punches and being very calculated. He's not wasting any energy on punches that aren't there. He's picking and choosing his combinations. Brilliant work by Ricky.
Is it something maybe that, Penafiel, knowing he's coming into enemy territory on literally a week's notice to the day, that bravado, is he using that as a part of his game plan to maybe sucker in STEELE to fighting the way he wants to fight?
I think it's that, and he's also trying to tell himself those same things. He's trying to tell himself that those kicks and punches aren't hurting him, but as you can see from his body and little swelling on his eye, he's feeling every one of these.
STEELE very slow and methodical with the kicks, sets up a good high kick. Penafiel blocking that last fury of left and rights. Good stiff right to that swelling left eye by STEELE. Again, a kick, left-right combination we've seen so many times in this first round as we come up to the final 30 seconds of our main event of Front Street Fights 25, presented by ProjectFilter.org. A little gamesmanship being displayed by both competitors in this final 10 seconds. Round number 1 comes to a start. A little bit of talk, and Penafiel, he's working it. He is playing that villain role. How did you see this first round shake out, Vince?
That was Ricky STEELE at his finest, I think. I think he's received a lot of criticism in the past for kind of laying on his back foot and not really having a high output. That was completely the opposite. Everything was combinations. Everything looked powerful. Looked like he was trying to hurt the dude. I loved it.
As we go to the Project Filter replay, it was that aggression by STEELE displayed throughout the first round. The patience, the poise, the confidence, the calculation that we saw from STEELE. Again, not to take anything away from Penafiel, we saw a few flurries from him, but again, it's that steady, that patience, that calculation that STEELE displayed in that first round.
Ricky clearly had a plan. He measured the distance. He threw exactly what he wanted to, and again, he didn't waste any energy.
No energy wasted, no wasted motion. Both men, again, back to staring daggers into each other. Referee Tom Subnet having some words with Penafiel. Again, that cockiness, that confidence, that bravado being displayed by Penafiel as we go into round number 2. Referee Tom Subnet gives a signal, and we are underway. What's the biggest change we need to see from Penafiel in round number 2?
If I'm his corner, I'm telling him to close distance and get in boxing range. There's 2 reasons why. One, Ricky has a ton of success with the kicks, and I'm absorbing a lot of damage. However, with the punches, we saw some flurries from Ricky. He was good output, but there's not a ton of damage.
Good right-left combination from STEELE, knocks Penafiel back into the cage, but again, he is right back up.
Yeah, this is more Ricky STEELE. This is nice. This
Good
is
fake out by
right
STEELE.
There's an
There you
adjustment
go.
from Penafiel.
Penafiel doing what you said, Cameron, closing the distance, getting Ricky pressed up against the cage. Maybe this is the point where he gets to kind of figure him out a little bit.
Absolutely. He's taken away a lot of his weapons. He's taken away his distance. He's taken away his range. He's taken away his footwork. And most importantly, those dang kicks.
What's the goal for each fighter in this moment as we come away from the cage? A couple of knees by Penafiel, a kick, or excuse me, by STEELE, that is. Gets a knee, a kick to the ribs, a front kick, and it's right back to STEELE's game.
That was exactly how Ricky STEELE should have approached that. He separated, got his hips away, he landed some punches on the break. That was beautiful.
Now, you've seen a lot of different things in the first round, early on in the second round. What are some more adjustments when you see Penafiel as he lands a left there?
I'd be looking to counter-strike. First of all, keep your hands up. Stop showboating with your hands at your waist. We need to be able to
Overhand
to
left by STEELE. And again, you mentioned it, keep the hands up, chin down. You just saw him do the opposite of both there.
Not a wise strategy. I have to wonder if the damage is accumulating, the weight cut's affecting him, or his strategy is just falling apart, being unfamiliar with Ricky's style.
2 rights. And again, you guys both mentioned it. Penafiel needs to close the distance, but we noticed a couple of subtle front kicks there by STEELE, opening that distance back up, getting him back to where he is comfortable.
Also against Penafiel, we're like a little hesitant on those level changes while he's coming forward. There's something coming up the middle that can be dangerous.
Left, right leg. Again, a combination we've seen many times from STEELE throughout this fight. What's the shortest notice you've ever taken a fight, Vince?
I had 10 days. It was my shortest.
When you get in there, now that's obviously a little over a week, by 3 days if we're doing the exact math. Good double leg takedown into a front guillotine. He's got it locked in. Is that the one? Does he have the arm under the chin? Can Penafiel fight out of this? Ricky gives it up, goes for back position, trying to lock it in. Again, Penafiel doing all he can do to spin out of this. Gets STEELE pressed up against the cage. Impressive combination by STEELE. Even more impressive for Penafiel to weather that storm and keep himself in this fight.
That was great. What an excellent scramble that was. Both these guys obviously have a high level of experience in the grappling department.
As time goes on, Penafiel, he's getting in there, but he also seems to be sitting back a little bit. You have a week to study your opponent. Is he studying his opponent on the fly right now?
He has to, and especially one unique thing that Ricky brings is that karate style. And the reason why it's so unique is not only because it's effective, but because it's such a different look than you've ever seen. Nobody else in the gym fights like this. None of your training partners, none of your opponents. So this adaptation process for Penafiel is at a 10 right now.
Both men kind of just taking it slow. Ricky, a very concentrated look on his face right now.
Right there, he's got to use that right arm to get that underhook, which he does. That was great.
STEELE gets a couple knees in there, an uppercut, another knee. An elbow from Penafiel. Both men doing what they can in close quarters. How hard is it now that the distance is closed? You don't have a lot of room to work with.
No, it's a completely different fight now. Being in that tight, you're looking for now your short range weapons come into play. Those elbows, those knees up the middle, which Ricky seems to be doing all that real well. He's obviously well-rounded.
STEELE where he can, exploring the face of Penafiel with his right fist. Throws a little shoulder to the chin, another shoulder to the chin. Final 10 seconds of round number 2. And a fight that has completely changed styles, slower the pace, close quarter, shoulder, left, right from STEELE as round number 2 comes to an end. Penafiel living up that villain role right now. Round number 2, very interesting, very stylistic change. We went from the distance to close quarter combat. How quick did that fight change, and how often do fights tend to change like that?
This is MMA. Anything, it can change at any point. But what didn't change is Ricky's still in command of the fight. Doesn't matter if it's at distance or in tight. He's doing all the right things right now.
As we take a look at the Project Filter replay, that combo by STEELE thrown, again, we've seen a lot of his combinations tonight, either left-right kick or kick into a left-right. And then where the fight changed was on the takeout, both men scrambling for position here, as you see right now.
Absolutely, and if I'm Ricky STEELE, I have a lot of confidence from this Darce attempt. We had some mistakes, but that's okay. We're going to capitalize on it. I know that if it goes to the ground, I'm in good shape. I don't need to keep it standing. I still would, but I know that that weapon is there.
We are coming up to our 3rd and final round of our main event of Front Street Fights 25. Joe Penafiel from Orlando, Florida. Ricky STEELE from right here in Boise, Idaho. Who is going to get the victory, and how will that victory come about? As the 3rd and final round opens up again, it's that distance game that STEELE prefers, keeping him to where he can use that kick, set up those combinations. Penafiel, spinning heel kick. Ricky loves that move, tries to throw it again, follows up with an overhand left. What is the biggest goal for Penafiel in the 3rd and final round? Obviously, finish the fight, win the fight. How does he do that in the 3rd and final round?
I'd revert back to boxing. I would close the distance. I'd get about 1 step closer to Ricky here. He needs to cut off the cage. Ricky does a great job using all the real estate he can with his circular and angular movement. Penafiel needs to cut him off by matching some of those angles and cutting him off with straight footwork.
One thing that Ricky does very well to control all that range is he switches stances on the fly. You can see he keeps throwing the overhand left, he'll switch to orthodox. Throws the overhand right, he switches back to southpaw. It's pretty impressive.
Now, one thing you got to say about Penafiel is you've seen the combinations from STEELE. It seems, again, adaptation is key. His defense has been getting better as STEELE goes for that spinning heel kick again. Doesn't land it. Penafiel's been doing a really good job of blocking some of these flurries from STEELE as he lands a right on him.
Yeah, and now he's adjusting again. He's trying to change levels. He's trying to get underneath him. He's trying to get him down so that he can do something significant. Because right now, he really needs to do something big in order to win this fight.
Again, it is not up to us to decide who wins the fight, but seemingly I think we'd all be in agreement at this point as the crowd starts chanting, "Let's go, Ricky." Penafiel, it seems at this point, has to finish the fight. Not go the distance. He's got to finish the fight. He's got to knock out and or submit STEELE. Is that a fair assumption at this point?
100%. If he's got anything else in his mind other than he lost those first 2 rounds, he's got to change the way he's thinking.
If you're in his corner knowing he's at that disadvantage and you're across the cage from him, how are you getting your instructions to him? What are you instructing him with?
I'm instructing him to do exactly what he just did. The reason that they got to this predicament here is Penafiel used his footwork to cut off the cage. He gave Ricky no options to move laterally or circularly, and he cut him off. Now he can get his hands around him, and we can at least start to implement some sort of attempt at a grappling. I'm losing the striking. I need to switch the game plan up. You mentioned adaptation earlier. That's a critical element here.
Good elbow there from Penafiel. Another left, another kick. Gets a heel kick in, albeit not spinning, is STEELE. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left in our main event. Good right from STEELE. The bravado being shown by Penafiel. Yeah, you hit me, but bring it on. Give me more.
That's exactly what he wants him to do. He wants him to overcommit. He wants Ricky to put himself in a bad position because right now that's probably the only way he's thinking that he can get something big off to win the fight.
STEELE again going for the spinning heel kick, getting a little piece of the cheek of Penafiel. Good right there by Penafiel. But again, STEELE not panicking. Gets an elbow to the back of the head, at least from our advantage. 90 seconds left in what has been a very exciting fight. We've seen different styles, different approaches, great offense, great defense. We're coming up on 60 seconds left, gentlemen. What's the final key to this last 60 seconds?
Ricky's got, just to seal the deal, Ricky's got to get his back off the cage and get back to doing what he was doing. For PENAFIEL, he needs something big.
He's got to get a takedown. The takedown is going to be a difference maker. It might not be enough, but it's going to be enough to get him a start and then continue to advance position from there.
You said takedown. He gets a takedown, gains back position on STEELE. STEELE remaining calm, cool, and collected.
If I'm in PENAFIEL's corner, I'm telling him to extend that leg he has hooked and use what's called a broomstick sweep to take Ricky down.
30 seconds left. STEELE flips positions, backs PENAFIEL up to the cage. 15 seconds left in the main event. You hear the crowd starting to come alive for Ricky the Karate Kid STEELE. Did he do enough to secure the victory with a takedown in the final 10 seconds? That may be all he needed to sway the judges. Gets a final left, a couple of elbows. One a late punch right at the buzzer there. Both men hugging it out. We saw the fireworks from the weigh-ins. Wow. We saw the issues between the two in the fight. At the end of the night, sportsmanship displayed. What an incredible main event here tonight.
Yeah, that was amazing. I think Ricky did exactly what he needed to throughout. That was very impressive. Shout out to PENAFIEL for coming over here on a week's notice and putting on a fight like that. That was great.
You know, I got to tell you again, Vince, you said it right there. PENAFIEL wanted to come to Boise from Orlando, give the fans what they wanted on 1 week notice. Didn't mind being the villain. He played that villain role as we go to the Project Filter replay. That hard right punch from STEELE where it kind of knocked him but said, give me some more. PENAFIEL trying for a little bit of offense, but again, we said it. He wanted to give the fans what he wanted. We know how impressive Ricky is. We have seen Ricky multiple times. This is the first time we're seeing PENAFIEL. You got to give it up for him for going 3 rounds, standing in there toe-to-toe with Ricky STEELE.
Absolutely. He was just on the wrong side of Ricky, never deviating from the plan that he established, which was own the real estate, strike from distance, and accumulate that damage throughout the fight. It's what Ricky does. It's what he did extremely well here. Credit to PENAFIEL for continuing to make it an exciting fight, and honestly, that personality shining through kept it interesting, kept you wondering if he was going to come back and rally. He never showed that he was mentally damaged at any point.
Now, you got to love to see that, the gamesmanship that we saw during weigh-ins, the gamesmanship we saw from PENAFIEL throughout the fight. But at the end of the day, you know, you both are in there doing what you love to do. A lot of respect being shown between both fighters right now.
100%, and this is what fighting's all about. As much as we all love the shoving and the arguments and the little bit of drama that goes into it, we're still martial artists at the end of the day, and if we can embrace ourselves after a hard-fought battle, I mean, that's what it's all about.
A couple of final decisions being made here by the judges. We have the scorecard in there. How did the judges see this one? Let's go back inside the cage to get our final decision of the night with cage announcer Britt Talbert.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the judges' scorecard, I know you were entertained tonight. I want to give a shout out to Joe PENAFIEL. He took this fight on a week's notice, flew out here from Orlando, Florida. Want to give him some love for coming out to entertain us tonight. We will move to the judges' scorecard. Judge Mike Michelson scores this bout 30-25. Judge Tim Turner scores this bout 30-27. Judge Aaron Willing also scores this bout 30-27. For your winner, by unanimous decision, fighting out of the red corner, the Karate Kid, Ricky STEELE! Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise here for Joe PENAFIEL coming out here tonight and entertaining us. All right, Ricky. It's been a while since we've seen you here. You've been on to some bigger things. You're back to entertain the locals. You got a guy that takes a fight on a week's notice. How did it play out for you?
Idaho, what's up? You guys make this truly an experience that I can't even put words to. Nothing is better than fighting here at my home in front of you guys. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Seriously, my opponent taking his toughest fight in 1 week notice, that's a goddamn gangster right there. Thank you, brother.
All right, Ricky, you got to tell everybody here they want to know what's next for the Karate Kid.
Strap a rocket to my back because we're going to the moon, baby. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Ricky STEELE. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite our matchmaker up here tonight. Where is Vida Ortega? Vida, come up, please. Vida, come on up here. While Ricky celebrates. I know we're proud of Ricky STEELE. We're proud of all these local fighters. I want you guys to make some noise. First time as a matchmaker, it's our local hero, Vida Ortega. All right, I'm putting you on the spot. How did you think the first night went with Front Street Fights 25?
It went really well, and I feel like I experienced everything on my first show.
What is next for you? The fans want to know. Where's Vida fighting next and when?
I actually just got a contract. I will be fighting April 22nd in Hawaii.
In Hawaii for Vida Ortega. Now, as the matchmaker, we got to know. A $300 cash bonus to the fight of the night. Can you tell us who won fight of the night?
Yes, it is Ricky STEELE and Joe.
Ricky STEELE and Joe PENAFIEL, fight of the night, ladies and gentlemen. One more round of applause for our matchmaker here, Vida Ortega. Make sure you catch her in April. Want to thank you guys for coming out here tonight. Thank you for letting me atone for my first fight issues tonight. Please go out, drive safe. We'll catch you next time at the next Front Street Fight.
Congratulations again goes out to Ricky the Karate Kid STEELE picking up the victory in our main event tonight of Front Street Fights 25. Cameron, Vince, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. I had an absolute blast. Hopefully we get to do this again very soon. Before we go to break, Cameron, final thoughts on the night overall of the show.
It's incredible that every fight had some fighter change, and it still was one of the best cards I've seen. It was absolutely amazing. Credit to everybody that showed up, that fought, that took a fight on short notice, that took an opponent on short notice. This fight came together well, and again, kudos to Vida for putting the whole thing together.
Vince, your final thoughts tonight.
Overall, that was one of the best Front Street fights all around MMA. We got to see a little bit of everything. That was great, and it was nice to be on the outside and provide a little inside perspective about what the fighters go through in there.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much again both for joining me tonight. As I said, I hope we can do this again soon. We are going to take a quick break. Coming up on the other side of the break, we will chat a little bit more with matchmaker Vida Ortega as we get ready to close out Front Street Fights 25 at STEELE versus PENAFIEL, presented by ProjectFilter.org.
I've always wanted to do that.
I've always wanted to do that.
Well, I've wanted everything. I always wanted to do this.
I always wanted to do that!
Next round on me. Watch every Idaho Steelheads home game live on Sparklight Channel 72.
Every time you use your ICCU Premier Rewards Visa card, you're earning rewards. Whether it's cash back or points, being a member of Idaho Central really pays back. Start earning points and getting cash back for your everyday purchases. It's a win-win. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe life should be rewarding.
We are here for the long run. Because we live here. We are based in Idaho, led in Idaho, with the mission of serving the people of Idaho. If every other health insurance company left the state, we would still be here. We're Blue Cross of Idaho. We're always on your side, and that will never change.
Come home to faster internet and greater savings when you switch to Sparklight's Lightning Fast Internet. Call now and connect your home for as low as $50 a month for 3 months. You'll want to stay in and stream the night away with speeds up to 1 gig. And whole home Wi-Fi that wows in every room. Cozy up with 99.99% reliability. Bring it all home with Sparklight Internet for as low as $50 a month for 3 months. Plus, act now and get free installation. Call us today or scan the code to speed up and save.
I've always wanted to do that.
I've always wanted to do that.
We'll have one of everything. I always wanted to do this.
I always wanted to do that!
Next round on me. Watch every Idaho Steelheads home game live on Sparklight Channel 72.
Every time you use your ICCU Premier Rewards Visa card, you're earning rewards. Whether it's cash back or points, being a member of Idaho Central really pays back. Start earning points and getting cash back for your everyday purchases. It's a win-win. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe life should be rewarding.
Front Street Fights is brought to you by Jack Daniels, Pepsi Zero Sugar, zero the sugar, all the flavor. Blue Cross of Idaho, we're on your side. Idaho Central Credit Union, helping members achieve financial success.
Welcome back inside Idaho Central Arena. You are looking at the aftermath of Front Street 5. Front Street's 25, not 5. We've had a few more since 5. Front Street Fights 25. I can't talk, Vita. I'm so excited. I'm here with matchmaker Vita Ortega of Quickly. We do want to remind you, if you saw at the end of the broadcast, tonight's fight of the night was the main event between Ricky the Karate Kid STEELE and Joe the Party PENAFIEL. Vita, I just really quick, first of all, huge congratulations to you. Personally, you got your start here at Front Street Fights as a fighter.
Yes.
Your amateur debut, I believe. Close to it,
Close
somewhere
to it.
very early in your career, but you've spent a lot of time here, and you've now taken over control of Front Street Fights. This is your first night being the matchmaker for the entire night. First of all, again, congratulations to you, but how are you feeling now that this is done, the night is over, you've seen all the fights you put together, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I feel all different emotions because not only did I set the fights up, but I feel like getting to know the fighters, it was just a different outlook. So I feel like we're just getting started. I feel like I did really well on my first show, so I feel like I'm excited for the next one.
Now, of course, you also have a fight if you're under prepare for in a
Yes.
couple of months in Hawaii. But before we get to that, obviously, let's talk about tonight. Just kind of run us through, what did you see from the first 3 fights tonight in the amateur card? Of course, the next generation of fighter, the up-and-coming fighters. Some have been around for a little bit. What did you see out of all of our amateurs tonight?
That they are very high-level amateurs. If they're amateur fighters and they're going all 3 rounds and they are going back and forth, nobody was outmatched. Everybody brought it. And so I was very impressed with the amateurs, especially as a debuter. Sometimes that jitter kicks in and the adrenaline. So I was really impressed with all of the amateurs. I was impressed with the whole card, but I was very impressed with them.
What stood out most for you tonight as we move on to the pro portion of the card? Of course, Ben Hollier and Isaac Thompson. What did you see in that fight?
Ben and Isaacs?
Yeah, Ben and Isaac.
Isaac is a up-and-comer. He's very skilled. He was patient. Ben, it just happened, that it wasn't Ben's night tonight, and that's part of the fight game. But Ben, was trying to do what he had to do to try to take him down, but Isaac was prepared. He was just one step ahead, I believe.
The co-main event tonight, Daryl Flores, Eddie Hoke. Again, another experienced fighter. Congratulations, by the way. I'm pretty sure you have now, in your first fight as a matchmaker, set a first in Front Street Fights in 25 fights. A split draw. That is very rare in the MMA world. And we were talking about it during the broadcast. Very even first round. Then the second round transitioned to one fighter. The third fighter transitions it to his favor. Do you agree with the judge's decision? Is that how you saw it come out?
Yes, and as a fighter myself, I always try to not leave it to the judges. As an athlete, your job is to make it be known that you won every round, every second to every round. And so it was hard. I honestly have no comment on that one because it was really hard. I can see why it was a split draw in a way, because it kind of goes in a blur. You remember the first round, then you remember the second. You're like, when you're in the third round, you're like, wait, what really happened in that first round? So it was tough. Both fighters are great. Oh my gosh,
now,
I was so nervous during that fight.
To put you on the spot, knowing we have a split draw in the first, is that something maybe you keep in the back of your mind to potentially explore a number 2 between these two down the road if they're game?
Yes, yeah, if they're both game, why not? I feel like even in the back, we made that decision as a team. Both of them came out here to win, so that win money, we're going to split it in between both fighters. We're going to take care of our athletes, and so, yeah.
Now, finally, the fight of the night, our main event, Ricky STEELE, Joe PENAFIEL. We talked a lot about it. Joe taking this fight on 1 week notice, having to travel literally all the way across the country against probably his toughest test in Ricky STEELE. I mean, Ricky looked sharp tonight. Out of all the fights that I've called for Ricky, probably the strongest I've seen him look, but the kudos to Joe was he stood there, he took it, he adapted, and by the end, if this is a championship fight, we get 2 more rounds. Not sure how that transition. What did you see out of our main event tonight?
That's exactly what I was thinking, too. I'm like, if this was to go around, 4 and 5, those actual rounds of the championship round, it would maybe be a different outcome. But, yes, I have nothing but respect for Joe. I have nothing but respect for Ricky. Joe definitely has heart, and that showed that. And he was game from the minute that I asked him, hey, I'm looking for, it's a hometown guy, week's notice. And he's like, oh, let's do it. He was game. And so he's a really nice guy. I know, you guys see him, hyping up the crowd.
The bravado, yeah.
Yes, that bravado, yes. And he's a really cool guy. And Ricky's great. It was a good match. I'm glad it turned out.
Well, it was a good match.
MJ.
I think a lot of people are leaving here very glad and very happy tonight. Again, Vita, congratulations on your first full night as matchmaker for Front Street Fights. I think Front Street Fights 25 will go down as one of the more exciting nights in our history.
Yes, thank you.
Well, we look forward to what you have next. And we want to thank everybody so much for joining us on the broadcast tonight, whether you were watching on Facebook or YouTube. Hope you guys enjoyed the fights as much as we had showing them to you. And we will be back. When will we be back? That announcement will be coming soon, so make sure you tune to all of the Front Street Fights social media channel for myself, the television crew, the arena crew, Vita Ortega, Cameron Moore, Daryl Flores. Well, yeah, I mean, Bon Hoffman, he fought, but
yeah.
Vince Morales is who I was looking for there. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We truly do appreciate it. We can't wait to see you next time right here at Idaho Central Arena for the next Front Street Fights presented by ProjectFilter.org.